Chapter 10:11. The sword Qi was very close to Lu Yil, as if it would slash down at any moment. "You dare to attack me?" Lu Yil was furious. He did not expect that Lin Xian would dare to attack him. In the next moment he glared at Lin Xian as well. The aura on his body rumbled like a flood. A huge force gathered and surged forward as if it was going to tear Lin Xian apart. Boom! Lin Xian sneered. The sword Qi on his body shone even more brightly. It was like a shocking rainbow as it slashed forward. He directly used the power of the great dragon sword soul for this attack. It was extremely powerful. He did this to intimidate the crowd and let them know that he, Lin Xian, was not someone to be trifled with. The sword Qi was like a rainbow as it quickly cut through Lin Xian's aura. Then it slashed down. Lu Yil was shocked. He did not expect Lin Xian's sword Qi to be so sharp that it could cut through his aura. With a low roar, he waved his palm and slapped upward. Boom! In the next moment, the two attacks collided with a low rumble. It was as if metal and stone had collided. Under the shocked gaze of the crowd, Lu Yil took 3 steps back. His palm was scarlet red. Fresh blood flowed down his fingertips and dripped onto the ground. It was extremely glaring. What? Lu Yil is injured? How is that possible? Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They did not expect that Lu Yil would be the one to be injured. It was too unbelievable. One had to know that Lu Yil was a genius of the Ryu family. The Ryu family was one of the 8 families under Prince Ling Feng. They were extremely powerful. Although they could not be compared to the House of Kings, they were not to be trifled with. Moreover, Lu Yil was very powerful. He was not inferior to Xin Yulong. However, such a powerful figure was injured by a single slash from someone else. Everyone looked at Lin Xian, their hearts trembling. Xin Yulong, Murong Qingshu, and the others frowned. They did not expect Lu Yil to be injured. Lu Yil was even more shocked and furious. Originally, he didn't put Lin Xian in his eyes at all. He thought that the other party was just an ant that he could crush at will. However, things went beyond his expectations. His opponent's sword Qi was too sharp, and it actually injured him. Although it was only a cut on his palm, it still made him very angry because no one had ever been able to hurt him so easily. Lin Xian was also speechless. To be honest, his opponent's strength was above his expectations. Originally, he thought that even if he couldn't kill his opponent, he would at least be able to sever his opponent's hand. But now his opponent only had a small cut and didn't suffer any substantial damage. No wonder the other party was so arrogant before. It seemed that he was indeed powerful and had the right to be arrogant. Lu Yil circulated the spiritual power in his body and quickly rushed to his palm. In the next moment, blood stopped flowing and the cut quickly formed a scar. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at Lin Xian like a wild beast. "Brat, how dare you hurt me? I'll kill you!" Lu Jiang roared angrily. His spiritual power suddenly erupted and wrapped around him like a ball of flames. Meanwhile, the sword mark on his palm quickly disappeared, and his entire palm returned to normal. What a powerful aura! The surrounding people exclaimed and kept retreating. It couldn't be helped. Lu Yil's aura was too powerful. It was definitely the pressure of a 4th heaven venerable. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary 4th heaven venerable. Lu Yil's spiritual power pulsed like a divine flame. His eyes were cold as he stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He stepped forward with his fingers like a sword and pointed forward. "That was a warning to you. If you continue to cause trouble, it won't be as simple as a cut on your palm next time. If you don't believe me, you can try." Lin Xian's voice was like a sharp sword that shook the surroundings. Hearing that, the surrounding martial artists were all stunned as if they had seen a ghost. Who was Lu Yil? He was a genius martial artist from the Ryu family. Even Xin Yulong, a core disciple of the House of Kings, addressed him as brother. One could imagine how powerful Lu Yil was. And now he was being scolded in public by a young man. It was a slap to his face. "You're courting death." Lu Yule roared angrily and threw a punch. This punch was surging with spiritual power and shining brightly. It was like a demonic mountain that charged forward quickly. At this moment, Lu Yule attacked with all his might. He wanted to punch Lin Xian into a bloody mist. Lin Xian sneered and was not afraid. He waved his arm and quickly landed. At the tip of his finger, an icy blue aura bloomed and turned into an icy sword aura that quickly slashed forward. Along with it was a monstrous and terrifying icy aura. Boom! A deep sound was heard. Boundless icy aura spread out as if it was going to freeze the entire world. This sword was too powerful. It contained the power of the dragon sword soul and was extremely powerful. Once again, it forced Lu Yule to retreat. This time, Lu Yule's fist split open again and a terrifying crack appeared. Blood spurted out again, but this time it was frozen into ice by the icy aura before it could fall to the ground. "Is this what gives you the right to be arrogant? What a joke!" Lin Xian sneered. "Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you are a disciple of the Ryu family. Let me tell you, you are nothing in front of me." Lin Xian stood proudly with his black hair fluttering in the wind. At this moment, he was like a sword god looking down on his opponent. Previously, Lu Yule had looked down on him with an arrogant attitude. Now he was going to return the favor. He wanted to let Lin Xian have a taste of being looked down on and looked down on. When the crowd saw this scene, their eyelids twitched and they were shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Furthermore, his attack power was too terrifying. Even Lu Yule was no match for him. There was no suspense in the fight unless Lu Yule used his martial soul and used all his strength. However, regardless of the final result, Lin Xian's name was engraved in everyone's heart. This was definitely a person who was more terrifying than Lu Yule. Lu Yule was so angry that his body trembled. His face was ferocious as he roared at the sky. "Kid, after the birthday banquet, you and I will fight to the death. I will kill you with my own hands." He was too angry and too sullen. If they were not in Crimson Crescent City today and did not have to care about the Morong family's reputation, he would have used all his strength to kill Lin Xian. He would not be as sullen as he was now. However, he also decided that after the birthday banquet was over, he would kill Lin Xian in an extremely brutal way. "You still dare to be stubborn? Looks like I didn't teach you a lesson." Lin Xian snorted coldly. He waved his arm again, and a stunning sword aura was released. It tore through the starry sky and slashed forward. Wasn't Lin Xian arrogant and insolent? Wasn't he looking down on everyone? Now he was going to be even more insolent and arrogant than Lin Xian. He was going to completely destroy Lu Yule. Lu Yule's face was ferocious, and his body trembled with anger. As a genius disciple of the Ryu family, he was usually respected. Even the core disciples of the House of Kings would call him a friend. He was never bullied by a kid like this. This was something that had never happened before. Chapter 10:12. Moreover, what made him even angrier was that he had been suppressed in front of everyone. This made him lose all his face. How was he going to show his face in the future? "Xiao Xuanzi, well done. This is so satisfying." The Crimson Dragon cheered from the side. "Who does he think he is? How dare he look down on us? How despicable. If Ben Huang still had his magic power, I would eat him up." The Crimson Dragon jumped up and down. He could not wait to eat Ben Huang Xuanzi up. Ling Er's mouth twitched slightly. She did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Moreover, his attitude was even more decisive and arrogant. He was determined to defeat Lu Yule and ruin his reputation so that he would not be able to face everyone. After this battle, Lu Yule's reputation would be greatly reduced. Boom! Another dazzling sword chi, sharp to the extreme, like the Milky Way, quickly slashed down, causing Lu Lai to tremble all over as he continuously retreated. "Ah, I'm going to kill you." Lu Yil finally could not take it anymore. His eyes were filled with madness. With a roar, the aura of his body suddenly erupted. Lu Yil finally could not take it anymore. He let out a long roar, and his body emitted a terrifying light. He was going to fight to the death with Lin Xian. "Why? You can't take it anymore? Come on then. If you dare to make a move, I'll cut you in half." Lin Xian's body was surrounded by sword aura. The tip of his finger emitted a dazzling sword light. He took a step forward and was about to brandish his sword aura. "Stop!" At this moment, Morong Qingshu, who was at the side, suddenly shouted coldly and stood between the two. His face was cold, and his body was also emitting a terrifying aura. At the same time, his voice seemed to contain a calming force. "Today is my ancestor's 800th birthday. I hope the two of you can restrain yourselves." His voice was cold and unquestionable. "Little brother, I respect you as a guest of Qingqing, so I've been holding back. But don't go too far. You should know that this is Crimson Crescent City, the home of the Morong family. No one can behave atrociously here." Morong Qingshu stared at Lin Xian, his voice cold. "That's what you're saying." Lin Xian sneered. "Didn't you see that he was the one who provoked me first? If he hadn't been so aggressive, I wouldn't have attacked him. No matter what, I'm a victim. I think you should blame him." Lin Xian shrugged and said indifferently, "Humph." Lu Yil coldly shouted, "Brother Qingshu, I'll give you face this time. After the banquet, I'll personally kill him. At that time, I hope you won't stop me." After that, he turned around and left with the Ryu family disciples. "Linger, bring me to see Qingqing," Lin Xian said. After that, he walked past Morong Qingshu, ignoring him. Obviously, Morong Qingshu and Lu Yil were on the same side. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spoken up for him. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to pay attention to him. Seeing this, Morong Qingshu's face darkened. He was a true disciple of the House of Kings and the young master of Crimson Crescent City. His status was noble, and no one dared to disrespect him. But now, a brat dared to ignore him. If he wasn't someone brought by Qingqing, he would have thrown him out long ago. "Brother, that brat is too despicable. I'll teach him a lesson." Beside him, a girl in a blue dress said in a low voice. This woman's appearance could be considered pretty, but her pair of eyes flashed with a cold light, making people feel extremely uncomfortable. "Don't be rash. After all, he's someone brought by Qingqing. We can't fight against Qingqing now. Don't worry, I'll just teach him a lesson. I won't take his life." Seeing that Morong Qingshu didn't object, the girl sneered again and left quickly. When Lin Xian came to a hall, he realized that Morong Qingqing wasn't there. He was called away by the elders of the family to discuss something. Since he was bored, Lin Xian strolled around. "Little brother, how should I address you? Why don't we get to know each other? Brother Lin, I'm so envious of you just now." Seeing that Lin Xian was strolling around alone, a few martial artists came up to chat. Although Lien Xian and Lu Yil didn't get along well with the Ryu family, not everyone here is friends of the Ryu family. There were also many enemies. So at this moment, these people seemed to have the intention of befriending Lin Xian. The few of them chatted harmoniously. At this moment, a disciple of Crimson Crescent City walked over and snorted. "Isn't he just a disciple of Senmu College? Does he really think he's a big shot? How dare he make a move in Crimson Crescent City? How dare he? Yeah, he doesn't even care about Brother Qingshu. How despicable. If it wasn't for Miss Seductress, he probably wouldn't even be able to enter the banquet." Many disciples of Crimson Crescent City mocked him. At this moment, a girl in a water silk dress walked over and sneered. "I heard that Lin Gongzi's name is well known in Senmu College. Now that I've met him, he really lives up to his name. Although you're a guest invited by Miss Seductress, you should have prepared a gift. I wonder what kind of gifted genius like you would have prepared. Why don't you take it out and let us see? Him? What gift can he take out? I don't think he prepared anything. So what if he prepared something? It's probably some trash that he wouldn't dare to take out. Several disciples of Crimson Crescent City sneered. Hey, you guys can't say that. No matter what, Brother Lin is still a genius of Senmu College. How could he be so poor that he can't even take out a gift? Murong Qian smiled and said, Don't underestimate Brother Lin. Do you know what kind of sword he's carrying on his back? That's a half-earth rank artifact, the Lone Star Sword. What? A half-earth rank artifact? Hearing this, the surrounding people were stunned. The few martial artists who were talking to Lin Xian also widened their eyes. They didn't know that the sword on Lin Xian's back was actually so precious. The disciples of Crimson Crescent City also looked at each other. They really didn't know that Lin Xian had a half-earth rank artifact. However, Murong Qian's words shouldn't be false. For a moment, the way the crowd looked at Lin Xian changed. There was greed and jealousy in their eyes. It couldn't be helped. A half-earth rank artifact was too precious. Even a core disciple of the House of Kings, like Shen Yulong, didn't have one. One could imagine how precious it was. Lin Xian frowned. The woman in front of him was acting strangely, trying to stir up trouble. It was obvious that she wanted to mock and frame him. It seemed that he hadn't shown enough strength. Otherwise, these people wouldn't have dared to provoke him. However, Lin Xian was here to attend the birthday banquet, and the other party was also a member of the Morong family. Therefore, Lin Xian couldn't act out. He sneered in his heart. He wanted to see what the other party wanted to do. Seeing that Lin Xian didn't speak, Morong Qian also sneered. Lin Gongzi, why be so stingy? Why don't you show us the gift? Could it be that Lin Gongzi really didn't prepare anything? At this point, Morong Qian covered her mouth with her jade-like hand, looking surprised. Chapter 1013. Aya, that's too bad. You're a Senmu College disciple after all. You're more suitable to be a guest invited by Miss Seductress. It wouldn't be good if you didn't prepare a gift. When the time comes, Miss Seductress and Senmu College will lose face because of you. Morong Qian had a regretful expression, but then she smiled and said, It's okay if you didn't prepare anything. I'll think of a way for you. My family's ancestor likes to collect treasured swords. If you present the Lone Star Sword as a gift, my family's ancestor will be very happy. Moreover, you can save Miss Seductress and Senmu College's face. This is killing two birds with one stone. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists were shocked and sucked in a breath of cold air. Using a half-earth tier artifact as a gift? This was too extravagant. It seemed that the Crimson Crescent City's disciples weren't very friendly to Lin Xian. They clearly wanted to snatch the Lone Star Sword. Lin Xian's face also darkened. He asked coldly, Who are you? I'm Murong Qian, just a small disciple of Crimson Crescent City. Wasn't Lin Gongzi invited by Miss Seductress? Why isn't he with her? Oh, I remember now. Miss Seductress went to discuss something with the elders. Of course you can't go in. Ahaha. Murong Qian laughed coquettishly as her voice was filled with disdain. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Miss Seductress? So you're Murong Qingqing's sister? I'm Qingqing's good friend. Speaking of which, I'm also your elder brother. How can you be so disrespectful to your elder brother? I'm thirsty. Pour me a cup of tea. Lin Xian sneered. You. Murong Qian was so angry that her entire body was trembling. What kind of status did she have? Although she wasn't a direct disciple of Crimson Crescent City, she was still a relatively outstanding disciple. Her status was usually noble, so when had she ever been ordered around by others? And now, this hateful brat actually dared to take advantage of her, and now he even dared to order her around. He was really courting death. As a younger sister, you should have the awareness of a younger sister. What's wrong? You don't even listen to your elder brother? Lin Xian laughed again. Also, get me a chair. I'll wait here for Qing Qing. Brat, don't go too far. Morong Qian snorted. I'm just giving face to Miss Seductress. Otherwise, do you think you can be so arrogant? Hearing this, Lin Xian laughed. You really don't know your place. I'm just giving Qing Qing face. Otherwise, based on what you said just now, do you think you'd still be standing? Brat, you're playing with fire. Morong Qian's face was gloomy. As an outstanding disciple of Crimson Crescent City, she was usually like a princess. When had she ever suffered such humiliation? Originally, she wanted to ridicule Lin Xian, but she didn't expect that she would be the one being bullied. This made her extremely angry. At this moment, the surrounding dancers also looked over and started discussing. Those gazes caused Morong Qian's face to turn even darker. Lin Xian sneered. He still wanted to say something, but suddenly his brows twitched. He used his soul force to check behind him and found that Morong Qingshu was also among them. Instantly, the corner of his mouth curled up and he didn't say anything. Brat, you dare to provoke me? You're dead. Morong Qian gritted her teeth. What? Is this how Crimson Crescent City treats its guests? You even threaten your guests. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. If that's really the case, I'd better leave. I don't want to be harmed by Crimson Crescent City. You. Morong Qian's chest trembled in anger. She still wanted to say something, but suddenly a loud shout came from behind. Shut up. Morong Qingshu strode over with a gloomy face. Seeing that it was Lin Xian again, his expression turned cold. However, in front of so many people, he couldn't say anything. After all, Lin Xian was a guest. They were the hosts, so they had to take care of their reputation. Otherwise, Crimson Crescent City would become a laughing stock. Brother, this brat is too despicable. Hurry up and throw him out. Shut up. Don't be rude. Brother Lin is our guest. What have I taught you? Morong Qingshu said coldly. But Morong Qian still wanted to say something, but when the cold gaze swept over her, she was so scared that she didn't dare to speak any more. Brother Lin, I think this is a misunderstanding. Qian is not very sensible. If she has offended Brother Lin, please forgive her. It's fine. As her brother, I won't stoop to her level. Lin Xian waved his hand, looking very magnanimous. Hearing this, Morong Qian's eyes turned black and she almost fainted. Morong Qingshu's mouth twitched slightly, but he didn't say anything in the end. However, when he looked at Lin Xian, there was a trace of coldness in his eyes. All right, everyone, stop looking. This is a misunderstanding. Morong Qingshu turned around and said to the crowd, Everyone, it's still early for the birthday banquet. Why don't we walk around Crimson Crescent City? I don't dare to say about other places, but there are many good places in Crimson Crescent City. Brother Qingshu, I heard that there is a very famous place in Crimson Crescent City called the Tiger Park. I heard that there are hundreds of demon tigers there, and many of them have reached the demon general level. Would it be possible for you to show us around? A warrior asked. Yeah, I heard about it too. Many people chimed in. Since everyone is interested, I'll show you around. Morong Qingshu laughed loudly. Then his body swayed and he flew into the void. The crowd was excited and quickly followed Morong Qingshu. Tiger Park? Lin Xian's eyes flashed with curiosity. Then his body swayed and he followed behind the Crimson Dragon. Crimson Crescent City was very big. The central area was filled with palaces and pavilions, while the surrounding area was surrounded by mountains, lakes, waterfalls, and forests. It was like a primitive garden. The Tiger Park was among the mountains in the periphery. From afar, before they got close, they could hear tiger roars coming from the forest below. Some of the roars were extremely terrifying. There was a strong demonic aura. When Lin Xian heard the roars, he was slightly moved because he could clearly feel the terrifying power contained in the roars. The crimson dragon looked disdainful. Although the tiger roars below were powerful, how could they be compared to the crimson dragon? If not for Lin Xian stopping it, it would have roared over. Lin Xian followed the large group in front of him and landed on a mountaintop. Murong Qingshu said that the mountain in front was the so-called Tiger Park. However, there were no special boundaries, and everyone could visit as they wished. However, they had to take note that the 3 red mountains behind them were not to be approached. There were 3 terrifying tiger demon imprisoned in the 3 mountains. They were even more powerful and violent. Therefore, for safety reasons, it was better for everyone to stay away. Hearing this, everyone raised their heads and looked into the distance. Chapter 10:14. Sure enough, there were 3 red mountains in the distance. Although everyone was curious, with Murong Qingshu's reminder, they didn't go. Next, everyone formed groups of 3 to 5 and quickly flew in all directions. Lin Xian also flew with the crimson dragon to one of the mountains. Sure enough, he saw a fierce tiger in the forest. It was a black-striped demon tiger, more than 10 meters long. It was very fierce, and its demonic aura was overflowing. This demon tiger had already reached the level of a demon general. It was awe-inspiring and roaring in all directions. Suddenly, it caught a glimpse of Lin Xian's figure and immediately roared. Its eyes filled with ferocity. "Little Black, go, bite him to death!" Suddenly, a cold voice rang out. The black tiger roared and turned into a ray of black light, pouncing over. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian didn't panic. Instead, a trace of disdain appeared on the corner of his mouth. Although this demon tiger was strong, it was nothing compared to him. Even before he made a move, the crimson dragon next to him suddenly opened its mouth and roared. The voice wasn't loud, even a little low. However, it carried the majesty of a king, directly intimidating the black-striped demon tiger. The black tiger's eyes revealed a look of fear. Its body trembled slightly, and it retreated uneasily. It didn't expect that the snake-like animal in front of it could make it so uneasy. Just as it was about to escape, Lin Xian stretched out his palm, forming a huge palm of light, and grabbed forward. Dragon catching hand, the huge light screen whistled with terrifying momentum and caught the black tiger in an instant. Then it brought it closer to Lin Xian. Dragon catching hand was also a kind of secret technique. It was rumored that if one mastered it, one could kill a flood dragon, let alone a demon tiger. Lin Xian withdrew his palm and placed the black demon tiger beside him. Immediately, the demon tiger trembled and crawled on the ground, not daring to move. The originally ferocious demon tiger was now as docile as a kitten. Lin Xian squatted down and gently stroked the demon tiger's fur with his palm. Then he said indifferently, "What? Was the lesson just now not enough? You want to die now?" Lin Xian didn't raise his head, but his voice was clearly transmitted to the front. The void rippled in front of them, and Murong Qian walked over with a vicious face. "Brat, no one has ever been able to berate me, much less make me look bad in front of everyone. You are the first, so you must die." She stared at Lin Xian, with her eyes filled with murderous intent. "Just you." Lin Xian shook his head in disdain. Murong Qian may be quite powerful, but she was no match for him. "I know that you are very strong and can even fight against Lu Lai, but don't be too arrogant. Don't forget that this is Crimson Crescent City." Her voice was extremely cold. Then, with a flip of her wrist, she took out a golden scroll. With a wave of her hand, the scroll opened abruptly. A white light bloomed and instantly enveloped Lin Xian and the crimson god dragon. Seeing the white light, Lin Xian's face darkened. He was about to summon the crimson lotus armor to defend himself. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon quickly said, "This white light isn't an attack. It seems to have the effect of teleportation." Hearing this, Lin Xian relaxed. However, he still activated the Crimson Lotus armor. Whoosh! The white light enveloped them. In the next moment, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon disappeared. The Murong Qian also disappeared in a flash. In this forest, only the demon tiger was left trembling on the ground. When Lin Xian reappeared, he discovered that he had already arrived at an unfamiliar place. This place was definitely not the same forest as before. It was obvious that the white light had teleported them away. However, the teleportation time was very short. Therefore, Lin Xian guessed that they were still in Crimson Lunar City. Then he looked around and found that they were also surrounded by mountains. However, they were all crimson in color. There was even a scorching heat. There's no need to look around. We're still in Crimson Lunar City. The Murong Qian's figure appeared in front of him. She sneered. "To be exact, we're still in the Tiger Garden. Why? Do you think you can succeed just because we teleported here?" Lin Xian sneered. "Don't be so smug. You'll know soon enough," the Murong Qian said coldly. Then she interlocked her fingers, placed them by her mouth, and blew a soft whistle. Bang! Bang! The ground trembled as if a huge monster was approaching. Along with it, there was a terrifying demonic aura. The demonic aura was too terrifying. It condensed into demonic clouds that surged rapidly. Finally, there was a flash of light and a crimson figure appeared next to the Murong Qian. Lin Xian looked up and frowned. That was because the crimson figure was a tiger demon. However, it was different from the demonic beasts that he had seen before. This one was shaped like a human and could not walk. However, it had the head of a tiger and its limbs were extremely thick. There were terrifying sharp claws on its huge palms. It looked half human and half demonic. It was very strange. Demonic beast. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. Interesting. No wonder you're so arrogant. There's a tiger demon here. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. This is a real demonic beast. Moreover, it's the most dangerous place in the Tiger Garden. That's because the tiger demon here is extremely powerful. It's a 4-star demonic beast general and is extremely powerful. Moreover, as a demonic beast, they were extremely powerful and ferocious. They were far more powerful than 4th-rank supremacies of the same level. Brat, how dare you provoke me? You're dead meat. The Murong Qian smiled coldly. Is that so? Is this your trump card? No wonder you're so arrogant and dare to lure me here. However, it's useless against me. Lin Xian shook his head. Stop bragging. You'll know how powerful it is soon. Although I can't kill you, I have hundreds of ways to torture you. I'll let you know the consequences of offending me. Of course, if you're willing to kneel down and admit your mistake and obediently give me the Lone Star Sword as a gift. I'll be gentler when I take action later. The Murong Qian lifted her chin and looked down at Lin Xian. You're really confident. Do you think a tiger can subdue me? Lin Xian shook his head. I think you won't give up until you see the coffin. Murong Qian snorted. Red tiger, catch this brat. I'll torture him properly. Buzz. The crimson tiger demon nodded. Then it stomped its foot and charged forward like a shooting star. The huge impact tore through the void and crushed the ground as it charged toward Lin Xian. As expected of the demon clan. It's terrifying. Lin Xian sighed softly. Just this strength alone was not weaker than Lu Yil. He tapped his foot and retreated backward like a flickering shadow. At the same time, his voice floated out. Aren't you afraid that Murong Qingqing will find out that you're trying to kill me? Don't worry, Miss Seductress won't find out. She doesn't have time to care about you now. Moreover, only the two of us know about this. If I don't say anything, are you going to say anything? I don't think you'll tell anyone about your miserable experience because I don't think you can afford to lose face. Seeing Lin Xian continuously retreating, the Morong Qian sneered with an arrogant expression. Chapter 10:15. Is that so? In other words, this was your own idea, and no one knows about it. Lin Xian smiled. So what? I alone am enough to deal with you. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. Initially, he had some misgivings and thought that this operation was ordered by Morong Qingshu. But now, it seemed that Morong Qingshu did not know about it at all. This was completely Morong Qian's idea. Since that was the case, it was easy to handle. In other words, only the two of them knew about what happened here today. With that, Lin Xian had no more misgivings. Buzz! The void trembled, and suddenly, a terrifying crimson beast claw slammed down. The beast claw was extremely terrifying and had a sharp, cold gleam as it tore the void apart. Boom! Lin Xian quickly dodged, but the huge tiger claw created a bottomless black hole in the ground. I thought you were some great genius, but you're just a coward who only knows how to run. Morong Qian snorted coldly. Let's see how many times you can run. Red Tiger, break his legs! Lin Xian's body swayed and appeared at the side. His gaze gradually became fierce, and at the same time, he whispered to the Crimson Dragon, Ruzalong, set up a formation and seal off all the images and sounds here. Don't spread it out. Although this was Morong Qian's idea, and no one else knew about it, this was Crimson Crescent City, and there were many martial artists watching the Tiger Garden nearby. If there was too much of a commotion, it would be hard not to be discovered by others. And if they were discovered, Lin Xian would not be able to do anything. Therefore, to prevent this from happening, it was better to let Ruzalong set up the formation first. Don't worry, kid. Leave it to me, the Crimson Dragon said excitedly. It quickly waved its dragon claws and inscribed runes to seal off the entire mountain range. It was also furious. That despicable girl was too infuriating. She actually wanted to kill them in this place where there was no one else. Since that was the case, he would seal off this place and see who would be the one killing who. Lin Xian ordered the Crimson Dragon to seal the entire mountain range. The Crimson Dragon waved its claws, and inscriptions quickly appeared and flew out from its claws, quickly covering the entire mountain range. Soon, an inscription array was formed. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the formation of the illusion array. He was facing the 4 demon generals, whose strength could not be underestimated. If he wanted to take them down, he would have to use some of his true abilities. If that was the case, it would definitely cause a huge battle phenomenon. If it wasn't for the illusion array, they would have been discovered very quickly. But now he had nothing to worry about. Seeing the Crimson Dragon seal the entire mountain, Morong Qian sneered. Initially, I was worried that the Red Tiger would cause too much of a commotion and attract other people. But I didn't expect that you, an idiot, would take the initiative to seal off the mountain peak, which just happened to solve my worries. Now, let's see where you can run to. Seeing that Lin Xian and Lin Xian had taken the initiative to seal off the mountain, Morong Qian was not shocked, but delighted. This was because she had great confidence in the Red Tiger. In her opinion, Lin Xian was definitely not a match for the Red Tiger. The Red Tiger also roared. Its huge tiger claws were like demonic mountains, releasing endless demonic aura. They intertwined in the air to form a huge beast claw, which quickly slammed down. The beast claw shone brightly as if it was cast from steel. It carried a terrifying aura and easily tore the void apart. Lin Xian, on the other hand, used the dragon-capturing hand to fight back. The two collided, producing a whistling sound in the void. Morong Qian sneered at the back. You're just a little disciple of Senmu College. Without Morong Qingqing's support, you're nothing. And you dare to berate me in front of everyone, and even dare to order me around. Today, I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me. Morong Qian's voice was cold. She kept urging the red tiger to capture Lin Xian. At the same time, she loudly reminded, "Be careful of his Lone Star sword. That half-earth tier artifact is very powerful. Don't let him draw it. That's right, you must snatch that sword. I want to give it to the patriarch as a gift." On the other hand, the dark red dragon snorted coldly. "What a greedy little girl. You're clearly the one who wants to rob the treasure, yet you're making it sound so dignified. Is your face made of city walls? How can you be so shameless? Ah, I'm so angry. Red tiger, catch this kid later, then catch that snake for me. I want to skin it and eat its gall." Morong Qian was so angry that she stomped her feet. She was actually being looked down upon, and the other party was an ugly snake? She couldn't stand it. Vicious indeed. Little girl, with your black heart, you definitely won't be able to get married in this lifetime. You deserve to be an old virgin forever. The Crimson Dragon's cold words made Morong Qian so angry that she kept stomping her feet. While the two were bickering, Lin Xian and the tiger demon had already exchanged dozens of blows. The two fought until the sky turned dark. Sand and stones flew everywhere, and terrifying cracks appeared on the ground. There were even deep pits in between. The surrounding mountains were even more shattered. Countless boulders rolled down, making rumbling sounds. Fortunately, there was an illusion array that covered everything. Otherwise, this commotion would have alerted others. After another collision, Lin Xian's figure fluttered, and he was about to pull out the Lone Star sword from his back. Seeing this scene, Morong Qian quickly shouted, "Hurry and stop him! Don't let him pull out the Lone Star sword." The Lone Star sword was a half-earth tier treasure, and its power was definitely incomparably strong. Once Lin Xian used it, his combat strength would increase by a lot. Therefore, no matter what, Morong Qian wouldn't let Lin Xian pull it out. At this moment, the huge tiger demon opened its mouth and spoke in human language. "Don't worry, Miss Qian. Even if that brat uses the Lone Star sword, he still can't do anything to me." Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. It seemed that this tiger demon was stronger than he imagined. It could actually speak in human language, which was indeed beyond his expectations. However, hearing the other party's words, he sneered. "Not afraid of the Lone Star sword? What big words! Today, I won't use the Lone Star sword. I'll take you down with my bare hands. You're courting death." Hearing Lin Xian's words, the red tiger also roared angrily. Its voice turned into a wave that rolled out, shaking all directions. As a 4-star demon, it was very powerful, far surpassing human warriors of the same level. Now, a mere human youth dared to speak such arrogant words. It was unforgivable. In the next moment, it roared ferociously and spat out a crimson cloud that floated in the air. The cloud rolled quickly, releasing a dazzling light. Then it kept rolling. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of metal clanging could be heard, and the crimson cloud turned into a crimson broadsword. This crimson broadsword danced in the air, leaving behind afterimages of the broadsword. It was extremely sharp. "Brat, become a ghost under my broadsword." The red tiger waved the crimson broadsword and attacked quickly. Dragon Catcher Hand. Vermilion Bird Seal. Lin Xian roared and used Dragon Catcher Hand with his right hand. Spiritual power surged, forming 2 true dragon shadows that spiraled forward. Chapter 1016. Dragon Catching Hands. Vermilion Bird Seal. Lin Xian roared and used Dragon Catching Hands with his right hand. Spiritual energy surged and formed 2 illusory dragons that spiraled forward. His left hand also formed a seal. A red light shone and a vermilion bird was born. Lin Xian attacked with both hands and unleashed 2 ultimate techniques at the same time. For a moment, Lin Xian was extremely powerful. The red tiger let out a ferocious roar. Demonic aura surged from its body, and the crimson saber in its hand swept in all directions. Bang! Boom! Terrifying energy exploded and surged in all directions. The red tiger kept retreating with shock in its eyes. It did not expect the human boy to be so powerful. Lin Xian was equally shocked. The demon clan was indeed powerful. At the same time, he was a little worried. After all, this was Crimson Crescent City. The longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. I wanted to play with you, but it seems like it's over. Let's end this. Lin Xian's voice was cold. He quickly took out the red lotus boxing glove and put it on his left hand. Then he threw out a palm. A bright red light shone, and a terrifying palm shadow was thrown out. It opened up in the air and formed a huge hand that covered the sky. In an instant, the light palm was above the red tiger and quickly slammed down. The red tiger tried its best to resist, but it could not resist and was slammed to the ground by the force. Suddenly, the ground cracked and a human-shaped pit appeared. The red tiger roared to the sky and tried to break free. However, the bright red light palm was like a cage. It floated above the red tiger and turned into a 5-finger mountain that pressed down on the red tiger. On the mountain peak, a red lotus swayed continuously. Roar! Damned human despicable! Let me out! The red tiger was pressed to the ground and kept struggling. However, it could not break free. The red lotus light palm was too terrifying. It was definitely not something it could resist. Io, you're about to die, and you still dare to be so arrogant. The crimson dragon walked forward and sneered. It kicked the huge body a few times. Damned reptile, when I get out, I'll tear you apart. The red tiger roared angrily. You are the reptile. Your whole family are the reptiles. The crimson dragon stomped its feet in anger. Stomp, 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 stomp. He swung his legs crazily and kept kicking Red Tiger's face. What? Impossible. On the other side, Morong Qian was also stunned. She didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to defeat the Red Tiger so quickly. This was completely beyond her understanding. One had to know that the Red Tiger was a 4-star demon general, and the demon clan's strength was incomparably powerful. Even if Lu Yiel and the others were here, they probably wouldn't be able to take him down. But now, Lin Xian could easily take down the Red Tiger. It was unbelievable. In the next moment, Morong Qian's expression changed drastically, and she quickly fled into the distance. The reason why she dared to capture Lin Xian was because of the Red Tiger and the Tiger Demon. But now the Tiger Demon was subdued by him. Now she was the only one left. With her strength, she couldn't compete with Lin Xian. Therefore, Morong Qian didn't dare to stay here. With a sway of her body, Morong Qian used all her strength and flew into the distance like a stream of light. Trying to escape? Lin Xian sneered and waved his dragon-catching hand. The huge light palms were like 2 spiraling dragons, rushing forward quickly. The terrifying shadow of the palm whistled through the air and blotted out the sky. In an instant, it had enveloped Morong Qian. You dare to touch me? You're dead. I'm from Crimson Lunar City. I'm from the Morong family. Morong Qian was so scared that her face turned pale and she screamed crazily. Why? Are you afraid now? You were so arrogant before. Didn't you say that you would torture me to death? Lin Xian snorted. I thought you had some backbone. I didn't expect you to be a coward so quickly. His expression was cold. With a wave of his arm, the 2 dragons quickly restrained Morong Qian and pulled her back to his side. Brat, you dare to touch me? You're dead. Crimson Lunar City won't let you go. The Morong family won't let you go either. Won't let me go. You think too highly of yourself. If I beat up Morong Qingshu today, there might be some trouble. But you, to be honest, I'm here on behalf of Senmu College. I don't believe that Crimson Lunar City will go against Senmu College for a little disciple. What? You're here on behalf of Senmu College? That's impossible. Weren't you here on behalf of Morong Chingcheng? Morong Qian screamed. She was stunned and couldn't believe it. Being here on behalf of Senmu College and being here on behalf of Morong Chingcheng were two completely different concepts. Previously, she thought that Lin Xian was able to enter Crimson Lunar City because of his relationship with Morong Chingcheng. So, she didn't take Lin Xian seriously at all. But now, it seemed that she was completely wrong. If the other party was really here on behalf of Senmu College, then his status was completely different. At the very least, he wouldn't be lower than a core disciple of the House of Kings like Xin Yulong. Although Senmu College was just a college, its status was absolutely extraordinary. It wouldn't lose out to the House of Kings. At this moment, Morong Qian was finally afraid. Lin Gongzi, I was wrong. I beg you, let me go. Morong Qian's face was full of pleading. She looked like a pear blossom in the rain and looked very pitiful. If it had been an ordinary person who saw this scene, they might have been fooled by her. But Lin Xian only snorted coldly. He had previously experienced this vicious woman's heart. Just because of a few words, this vicious woman wanted to torture him to death. If it wasn't for his strength, if it was another person, they would have long been tortured beyond recognition. Ruzalong, set up an illusion array and throw her in. Scare her, but don't kill her. Don't worry, using an illusion array to scare people. I like it. Ruzalong was very excited. He waved his dragon claws and quickly set up a small illusion array. Then Lin Xian sealed all of Morong Qian's spiritual power and threw her into the illusion array. Soon, Morong Qian's terrified screams could be heard from the illusion array. Her voice was very miserable and would make anyone who heard it shiver. Lin Xian ignored Morong Qian and turned to look at the red tiger, who was trapped under the Five Fingers Mountain. Despicable human, let me out and we'll fight to the death. I'll skin you alive. Red Tiger roared crazily. Its entire body emitted a terrifying, murderous aura. You still dare to be stubborn? You're just a monster. How dare you be so arrogant? Let me tell you, this is human territory. You still want to kill me? Can you do it? Lin Xian sneered and slapped the red tiger on the ground. This slap landed heavily on the red tiger's body and immediately smashed it into the ground. The ground cracked and countless cracks spread out like a python web. Lin Xian's control of his strength was very precise. Therefore, this slap only injured the red tiger and did not take its life. Ah, damned human, I'll definitely kill you. Red Tiger spat out human words as if he had gone crazy. However, what awaited him was a terrifying palm shadow. Lin Xian swung his fists and continuously bombarded the red tiger's body. Finally, he smashed it into the ground. All the bones in the red tiger's body were broken. Its entire body sank into the deep pit. Chapter 1017. All the bones in the red tiger's body were broken, and he fell into a deep pit. However, Lin Xian was slightly surprised. As expected of the demon clan, he was indeed strong. If a human venerable had been attacked like that, he would have died. However, the red tiger was only seriously injured, and his life was not in danger. Lin Xian did not attack again. He could not really kill the red tiger. After all, this was Crimson Crescent City's territory. Kid, what should we do? The Crimson Dragon asked. Bury him underground and seal him. Seal him tightly. Don't let him out for a while, Lin Xian said. Bury him alive. Ga. I like it. The Crimson Dragon was excited. He kept rubbing his hands and quickly sealed the red tiger under the ground. After sealing the red tiger, Lin Xian turned to look at the illusion formation in front of him again. Okay, it's about time. Let her out. I think she won't dare to be domineering and bully people anymore, Lin Xian said. It's over so soon. I want to play a little longer. The Crimson Dragon curled his lips and unwillingly removed the illusion formation. Then Morong Chen was released. Her steps were trembling, her hair was messy, and her face was abnormally pale. Every few steps she took, her body would tremble, and her eyes were full of fear. At the same time, she kept shouting, "Don't kill me, I won't dare to do it again." It seemed that Morong Chen was still in the shadow of the illusion formation and had not woken up. Seeing this, Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, a blue frost flew out. Frost and cold air gushed out and covered Morong Chen. The terrifying power of ice was bone-piercing and immediately woke her up. Ah! Morong Chen screamed and returned to normal. However, her body still trembled slightly when she thought of what had just happened. Seeing Lin Xian in front of her, she lowered her head deeply. "Don't be so arrogant in the future. Otherwise, you'll end up worse than today," Lin Xian said calmly. Morong Chen didn't say anything and lowered her head even more. However, after today's experience, she wouldn't dare to bully others casually in the future. "All right, remove the formation. It's time for us to leave." "Brat, you're letting her go just like that? Aren't you afraid that she'll seek revenge? That Morong Qingshu is nearby. If this little girl were to reveal what happened just now, I'm afraid the Morong family would immediately take action. Don't worry. With her personality, she definitely won't tell anyone about what happened just now. Otherwise, she won't be the only one losing face. So, for the sake of Crimson Crescent City and the Morong family's reputation, she will not tell anyone," Lin Xian said calmly. Clearly, he had thought about all these things beforehand. After that, the Crimson Dragon removed the sealing formation. "Let's go. While you're at it, introduce this tiger garden to me." Lin Xian turned to Morong Chen and said. Morong Chen's face turned pale. She was extremely unwilling. She didn't want to stay here any longer. However, she didn't dare to disobey Lin Xian's words. She had no choice but to agree. Morong Chen led the way in front. After that, she brought Lin Xian and Morong Chen to walk around the tiger garden. During this time, the Crimson Dragon kept nodding. He didn't expect this little girl to be so timid. She was originally arrogant and domineering like a femme fatale. Now, she seemed to be quite obedient like a little wife. "Brat, your methods are not bad. If you don't like someone in the future, you don't even need to do anything. Just tie them up and throw them into the illusion formation. Let them suffer for 3 days and 3 nights. I'm sure they'll be extremely obedient when they come out." The two of them joked, while Morong Chen's face darkened. She resisted the urge to break down and quickened her pace. Soon they met other people. Because the tiger garden was very famous, many martial artists were nearby to admire it. "Hey, isn't that Morong Chen? Why is she with Lin Xian? Didn't the two of them have a conflict earlier?" Yeah. Many people saw the figures of Lin Xian and Morong Chen and were instantly puzzled. This was too suspicious. Not long ago, Lin Xian and Morong Chen had a verbal argument. Especially Morong Chen. She mocked and ridiculed Lin Xian. She even clamored for Lin Xian to give away the Lone Star sword as a gift. It could be said that the conflict between the two of them was definitely not small. However, the two of them were walking together and admiring the tiger garden together. It seemed that Morong Chen was even the guide. What the hell is going on? How are the two of them so close? Everyone was confused and kept guessing in their hearts. Could it be that the two of them have an affair and the conflict earlier was just a cover? I think so. Look at that Morong Chen. She's so obedient like a little wife. They're obviously a couple. Yeah, I didn't see them just now. Could the two of them have done that? Many people looked at each other and smiled, their eyes revealing vulgar expressions. Hearing this, Lin Xian's mouth twitched slightly. Morong Chen's face turned red and she buried her head deep in her chest. The Crimson Dragon, on the other hand, could not stop laughing maniacally. This group of people was too cute, and their imaginations were too rich. However, if they knew the truth, their jaws would probably drop in shock. What nonsense are you talking about? How could Qian Jia have anything to do with that guy? That's right. That brat is too despicable. He dares to behave atrociously in our Crimson Crescent City. How could Qian Jia let him off? A group of Crimson Crescent City disciples were unconvinced and clamored. However, when they saw the abnormally shy Murong Qian beside Lin Xian, their eyes widened and their eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets. Dream, I must be dreaming. Is that really Qian Jia? Why do I feel like she's a different person? I don't believe it, I don't believe it. This brat must have used some trick. Many disciples were unconvinced and rushed forward. Brat, tell us, what did you do to Qian Jia? Lin Xian was speechless. The Crimson Dragon jumped out and scolded the group of Crimson Crescent City disciples. You bunch of bastards! What dirty thoughts are in your heads? What could the two of them have done in broad daylight? Besides, even if there was something, it's between the two of them. What does it have to do with you? The Crimson Dragon's words became more and more ambiguous. Many people's expressions changed when they heard this. The Murong Qian's face was filled with black lines. She was about to explode in anger. However, with the previous example, she did not dare to behave atrociously in front of Lin Xian. Otherwise, if she was secretly caught and thrown into an illusion array, she might as well die. Taking a deep breath, the Murong Qian tried her best to calm down. She then looked up and squeezed out an ugly smile. You're thinking too much. There's nothing between me and Lin Gongzi. We had some misunderstandings before, but we've cleared them up now. After all, Lin Gongzi is our guest. Is there a problem with me bringing him around the Tiger Park? At the end, the Murong Qian became arrogant again. No. Many people quickly shook their heads. The Murong Qian was famous for her arrogance. They did not dare to provoke her. Chapter 1018. Let's disperse. I'll show Lin Gongzi around for a bit. We'll be back soon. Murong Qian said coldly, then turned to Lin Xian and whispered, Lin Gongzi, this way please. The crowd felt a wave of dizziness wash over them. Murong Qian's attitude towards Lin Xian was completely different from her attitude towards other people. They would not believe that there was nothing fishy going on, even if they were beaten to death. However, Murong Qian was a member of Crimson Crescent City. They didn't dare to spread rumors in Crimson Crescent City. The disciples of Crimson Crescent City shook their heads. They knew Murong Qian's notoriety, so they didn't dare to say anything. Hence, everyone dispersed and could only suppress their curiosity. Lin Xian walked around a few more mountains. This time, he and Murong Qian weren't the only ones. There were many other warriors nearby. Suddenly, the snow-white little fox gently tugged at Lin Xian's hair and began to make some noises. You said someone is following us. Lin Xian frowned when he saw little white monkey's gestures. Can you find him? Lin Xian asked. Unsure, little white monkey turned its head and scanned the surroundings with its big black eyes. However, in the next moment, it scratched its head with its little white paws and looked confused. Unsure. Little white monkey began to gesture again. This time, Lin Xian was dazzled. Sigh, let's have Ben Huang translate for you. The Crimson Dragon couldn't stand it anymore. Little white monkey means that the person has disappeared. It can't find him. Disappeared? Can't find him? Lin Xian's frown deepened. Unsure. Little white monkey nodded and began to gesture again. The Crimson Dragon continued to explain. He said that the person often hides in the crowd and appears with different faces. Every time, he's around 300 feet away. Hearing this, Lin Xian's expression became extremely ugly. because even with his outstanding soul power, he actually couldn't detect the other party's abnormality. He didn't even feel any danger. This was a very bad sign for him. One must know that his soul power was extremely powerful. It was even comparable to a cultivator of the 5th or 6th layer of the exalted realm. Even so, he was still unable to sense his opponent. One could imagine how terrifying his opponent was. The Crimson Dragon also frowned. That person shouldn't be as strong as you think. Otherwise, he could have just used his strength to crush you. I'm afraid he wouldn't have been able to take you down. However, his concealment skills are quite good. Even I didn't notice him for a while. Luckily, the little guy was able to discover the abnormality. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Zero, can you detect any abnormalities? Lin Xian had no choice but to ask the 10,000 bee sting in his body. There is indeed someone following you. It's a very ordinary man, so ordinary that you wouldn't notice him if you saw him. That person should be a very professional killer. Fortunately, the little monkey beside you is very intelligent. It was actually able to detect the abnormality. Zero's voice was cold. Can you help me point out who it is? Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. The current situation was very unfavorable for him because he didn't know where the danger was hiding. Not for now, because I've just woken up. I'm not as strong as you think. However, when that person comes within 30 meters of you, I can help you call the police. 30 meters is enough. Although 30 meters was just a blink of an eye for people at their level, it was better than no warning at all. With Zero's warning, Lin Xian was relieved, but his face was still gloomy. Boy, from the looks of it, he seems to be an assassin. Could he be related to those people who tried to assassinate you before? The Crimson Dragon said. It's possible. Lin Xian frowned. Indeed, not long ago he was besieged by 2 assassins. Moreover, the 2 assassins' concealment skills were extremely powerful. Even he was almost hit at that time. Now, there was an even more powerful assassin following them. He couldn't help but link the 2 together. Who was it that was trying so hard to kill him? Moreover, what made him even more shocked was that this assassin had followed him to Crimson Lunar City. If he was assassinated here, it would definitely be a shocking matter. This time he was representing Senmu College. If he died in the Morong family, it would probably cause a huge commotion in Senmu College. Humph, you'd better not let me catch you. Lin Xian's expression was cold. Let's go. Let's leave this place. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said to the Morong Qian in front of him. Okay. Morong Qian also heaved a sigh of relief. Following Lin Xian really put too much pressure on her. Let's go to the Crimson Lunar Palace. The birthday banquet should be starting soon. Morong Qian thought for a moment and said, Okay, you lead the way. Lin Xian nodded. There must be a large number of warriors and elders in the Crimson Lunar Palace. Presumably, the assassin would not dare to make a move in such a place. It had to be said that the Morong family's elder was very powerful. Countless powerful experts had come to participate in this birthday banquet. Lin Xian saw many 5th and 6th Heaven Venerables experts. These people's auras were too strong. The blood and qi in their bodies were like furnaces of heaven and earth, exuding a powerful vitality. Every move they made carried a terrifying aura. Obviously, these people should be elders of some powerful forces. Some of them were even greeted respectfully by Xin Yulong and Lu Yil. One could imagine how terrifying these experts were. These experts were all invited to the main hall and sat at the top. Shan Yulong, Lu Yil, and the other young people could only sit in the distance. The entire main hall was magnificent and lively. When everyone saw Lin Xian and Morong Qian leading the way, they were stunned for a moment. This was because Morong Qian was wearing the uniform of an elite disciple of the Crimson Lunar City. She was not an ordinary disciple. It was impossible for such a person to be a guide. But now, Morong Qian was leading the way for a young man. Her attitude was very respectful. This made many people puzzled. Lu Yiol, Xin Yulong, and the others were also surprised when they saw this scene. Morong Qingshu's face darkened. He had heard this matter from his subordinates before. He thought it was a rumor, but now it made him look very ugly. Seeing so many gazes, Morong Qian finally could not hold it in any longer. She no longer paid any attention to Lin Xian. Instead, she quickly walked forward and stood next to Morong Qingshu. "Hey, you're here." At this moment, a gentle voice was heard. Then a beautiful figure walked over from afar. Soon, she came to Lin Xian's side. Seeing this figure, everyone was stunned. They could not take their eyes off her. Even their breaths were a little hurried. This beautiful figure was naturally Morong Qingqing. She was like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. Her beauty was unparalleled. Chapter 1019. You weren't here just now, so I went to the tiger garden. Lin Xian replied with a smile. You must be tired. Go rest over there. Morong Qingqing pulled Lin Xian to the seat next to her like an obedient wife. This scene broke the hearts of many young talents and caused them to scream in agony. For a moment, everyone's gazes towards Lin Xian were filled with intense hostility. Xun Yulong, Lu Yiol, and the others looked even colder. There was even a hint of murderous intent in their eyes. Even outstanding prodigies like them could not win the favor of Morong Qingqing. How could an ordinary disciple of Senmu College win the favor of their goddess? They were extremely unconvinced. The people from Crimson Lunar City were also looking at him strangely, especially Morong Qingshu. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Although he knew that Lin Xian was brought here by Morong Qingqing, he did not expect the two to be so close. Under the envious gazes of the crowd, Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing sat peacefully together and chatted in a low voice. Then everyone took out the gifts they had prepared and presented them to Lin Xian. At this time, many people looked at Lin Xian with provocative gazes. They wanted to see what kind of gift Lin Xian had. Because Lin Xian and Morong Qian had a conflict because of the gifts in their hands, they were very curious to see what Lin Xian had to offer. Among them, the Wu family, especially the Ryu family, the Shen family, and the disciples of Crimson Lunar City, all looked at Lin Xian with a cold smile. They wanted to see what good things this arrogant and fearless youth could take out. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Lin Xian flipped his palm and took out a black box. It was a very ordinary box. It was very ordinary and simple. It was so ordinary that it was a little unusual. There were no exquisite carvings or dazzling lights. It was just the most ordinary wooden box. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to take out something like this. **CK, what is that? Isn't it just an ordinary box? Look at his calm face. Could there be some treasure in the box? What kind of joke is this? Would you put a treasure in this kind of box? Someone sneered disdainfully. And the son of the Ryu family is even more mocking. Kid, no matter how poor you are, you shouldn't be taking this kind of thing. Are you here to cause trouble? Seeing Morong Qingqing sitting next to Lin Xian, everyone was envious, jealous, and hateful. Therefore, they seized this opportunity and spared no effort to mock Lin Xian. Who do you think you are? You're just a little student from Senmu College. You must have used some despicable means to gain the favor of the goddess. Now, I'll expose your true ugly face. This was the thought in the hearts of all the young martial artists. At this time, the disciple of the Shin family also said, "Look at Brother Lin's calm expression. There must be something good in the wooden box. No, let's open it and take a look. It's nothing. It's just an elixir that I refined myself." Lin Xian said lightly. "What, an elixir that you refined yourself?" Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to refine elixirs. However, soon, Everyone showed a look of contempt and disdain. In their opinion, Lin Xian was so young. Even if he could refine elixir, so what? His level was definitely not high. At most, he was a 5th-grade alchemist. What kind of elixir could a 5th-grade alchemist refine? At most, it would be a 5th-grade elixir. At best, it would be a 5th-grade elixir. How could he have the nerve to take out such an elixir as a birthday gift? What a joke! Thinking of this, many martial artists sneered. They felt that Lin Xian was being too childish. He actually took out an elixir that he refined himself as a birthday gift. I knew this kid didn't have anything good. I thought he would just take out some ordinary gifts. But I didn't expect his gift to be so strange. Ha 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 ha, I'm dying of laughter. Humph, how hateful. He obviously has a half-Earth-grade artifact. He actually gave this kind of trash elixir. Does he think my Crimson Crescent City is easy to fool? The Crimson Crescent City's disciples were furious. They looked at the crowd with unkind expressions. Lin Xian was speechless. He rubbed his nose. Why were these people ridiculing him? Did he say something wrong? Was this really something that he refined himself? Ha 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 ha, Brother Lin, your gift is really strange. At this time, a feminine-looking young man beside Shin Yulong stood up. Although I didn't expect Brother Lin to be an alchemist, this gift is really surprising. As a 6th-grade alchemist, even I don't dare to give out elixirs that I refine myself. Brother Lin's courage is really admirable. This voice carried a hint of sarcasm. Oh, you're a 6th-grade alchemist? This time, it was Lin Xian's turn to be surprised. He didn't expect this young man to be an alchemist, and a 6th-grade alchemist at that. To be able to become a 6th-grade alchemist at such a young age, his talent was definitely powerful. As expected of the House of Kings, it actually produced such a genius alchemist. However, the young man's words made him very unhappy. Lin Xian also understood why everyone laughed at him when he took out the wooden box. In these people's eyes, the wooden box definitely didn't contain any good elixirs. That was why they had such an expression. However, Lin Xian had a cold smile on his face. They really were a group of frogs at the bottom of a well, ignorant people. Just because he couldn't refine high-grade elixirs didn't mean that others couldn't refine them. They really were a group of pitiful people. Lin Xian stared at the feminine-looking young man and said with a smile, I didn't expect you to be a 6th-grade alchemist. I've been disrespectful. A 6th-grade alchemist status isn't low. Brother, your talent is really good. It's really enviable. Hearing this, the feminine-looking young man smiled proudly and raised his chin arrogantly. The surrounding people were in an uproar. They didn't expect Lin Xian to say such a thing. The Crimson Crescent City's disciples all had gloomy expressions. From the looks of it, Lin Xian's alchemy skills definitely didn't exceed that of a 6th-grade alchemist. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such a thing. A mere alchemist actually dared to take out his own trash elixirs as a birthday gift. This was completely looking down on them. Damn it, this guy is too despicable. He actually dares to look down on our Crimson Crescent City. This guy is purely here to cause trouble. I suggest that we throw him out. Humph. Even if he has Miss Seductress's support, he can't be so arrogant. Does he really think that there's no one in our Crimson Crescent City? The group of Crimson Crescent City's disciples were all very angry. Murong Qingqing also looked over curiously. Although she knew that Lin Xian's alchemy skills weren't weak, she was still a little worried at this moment. Don't worry, there won't be a problem. Lin Xian gave her a comforting look. Then a playful smile appeared on his face. Seeing this smile, Murong Qingqing was relieved, because she knew that whenever Lin Xian had this kind of smile, it meant that he was very confident in this matter. Moreover, someone was going to be unlucky. Chapter 1020. Opposite him, the gloomy young man raised his chin and said to Lin Xian, You don't have to envy me. Some talents are innate, so there's no point in being envious. However, if you're sincere, I can give you some pointers on alchemy. It's a great honor for you to be guided by me. It'll save you a few years of deeders. The gloomy young man said in the tone of an elder. Uft. Hearing this, the crimson dragon almost spat out the wine in his mouth. He looked at the gloomy young man with a strange expression. Guide Lin Xian? Lin Xian's alchemy skills were better than some of the old monsters, and he even had the inheritance of the Niwa of Gojoseon. Why would he need others to teach him? However, the crimson dragon held back his laughter, but he was laughing wildly in his heart. This kid is too arrogant and overestimating himself. He actually dares to teach Lin Xian alchemy? If he knew that this wooden box contained a 7th grade pill, I wonder what his expression would be like. The crimson dragon was looking forward to it. Lin Xian smiled and said, Brother, you're really generous. I didn't expect the Shun family to have such a generous and selfless pill. How rare! Lin Xian's words made the gloomy young man even more proud. He said arrogantly, Since you're so sincere, I can give you some pointers. Open your wooden box, and let me see how good your pill is. I'll also know where your flaws are. Forget about that. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. This thing is a gift for Senior Morong. It's not a good idea to open it now. Hearing this, many people spat out the wine in their mouths and looked at Lin Xian strangely. What was this guy thinking? He still dared to give away his pill as a gift. Wasn't he afraid of being beaten to death by the people of Crimson Lunar City? The disciples of the Crimson Crescent City clenched their fists and glared at Lin Xian furiously. They wanted nothing more than to rush up and beat this detestable brat up. The gloomy young man from the Shin family was also stunned. He didn't think that Lin Xian would dare to say such a thing. Was there really something wrong with his head? Thinking of this, the smile on his lips became even more disdainful. Brother Lin, I advise you to open it now and let me give you some pointers so that you can understand your true level. Otherwise, if this pill is given out, I'm afraid it will only become a joke. That's right. Open it and let me see what kind of top-grade pill you've refined. The surrounding cultivators also said while suppressing their laughter. Forget it. I gave this to Senior Morong. It's really not suitable to open it here. Lin Xian shook his head. Since it's a gift, I'll know about it last night. Why don't I open it now and take a look? That's right. It's not like you'll lose anything just by looking at it. Let us take a look at your supreme grade pill. The surrounding cultivators laughed and said. The more Lin Xian refused to open the box, the more they wanted to know what kind of pill was inside. In the end, the disciples of Crimson Crescent City couldn't stand it anymore. They shouted coldly, as people of Crimson Crescent City, it's not too much for us to take a look. What if there's something dangerous inside? How are we going to present it to the old master? In the end, Morong Qingshu also said in a deep voice, Brother Lin, open it. Seeing so many people trying to persuade him, Lin Xian scratched his head in embarrassment. I really don't want to open it, but since you've all said so, there's no other way. All right, I'll open it and let you take a look. Quick, open it quickly. Don't waste time, open it quickly, the surrounding cultivators urged. In their opinion, the thing inside Lin Xian's box was definitely not something good. The Crimson Dragon, on the other hand, was suppressing his smile and laughing silently. This kid was too evil. There was clearly a 7th grade pill inside, but he pretended to be embarrassed to open it, deceiving everyone around him. The Crimson Dragon looked at the expressions of the surrounding cultivators and was amused. He wanted to see what kind of expression these people would have when the wooden box was opened. Under the expectant gazes of the crowd, Lin Xian slowly opened the wooden box. Damn, what's going on? There's nothing inside? Everyone stretched their necks to take a look, but they found that the wooden box was flat and there was no pill inside. Everyone was puzzled, and just as they were about to speak, Lin Xian said, Don't worry, there's still another box. Pretentious. He must be pretentious. A lousy 5th grade pill, and he even used 2 boxes to store it. He was too pretentious. Let's see how we'll laugh at you when the pill comes out later. Everyone gritted their teeth in anger. The 6th grade alchemist also had a disdainful look on his face. Humph, he's just playing to the gallery. This was his evaluation of Lin Xian. However, he soon frowned because there was a faint pill fragrance coming from the wooden box. The pill fragrance was very faint because Lin Xian had not opened the second wooden box, so no one could smell it. However, as a 6th grade alchemist, his strength was not to be underestimated, so he could clearly sense the pill fragrance. This pill fragrance is very strange. The gloomy young man frowned. This fragrance was not something a 5th grade pill could emit. Could it be a 6th grade pill? Thinking of this, he was shocked. Impossible. Could it be that he's also a 6th grade alchemist? The gloomy young man was puzzled. One had to know that he was a 6th grade alchemist, so he naturally knew how terrifying a 6th grade alchemist was. Generally, 6th grade alchemists were old monsters who were a few hundred years old. There were very few young people who could reach the level of a 6th grade alchemist. For someone like him to reach the level of a 6th grade alchemist at such a young age, he was considered a heaven-defying genius. One had to know that his status in the Xin family was not lower than Xin Yulong, a core disciple. In fact, his status was even higher. However, he realized that Lin Xian might also be a 6th grade alchemist, which made him unable to believe it. Becoming a 6th grade alchemist did not only require talent, but also the guidance of a master and a large amount of resources. Otherwise, it would be impossible to reach the level of a 6th grade alchemist with just talent. He had received guidance from a master alchemist since he was young, and his family had provided him with countless medicinal herbs to refine pills. With so many resources, he was able to become a 6th grade alchemist at such a young age. However, Lin Xian, a young Senma College student, was also a 6th grade alchemist? He could not accept this. Impossible. He definitely can't be a 6th grade alchemist. Humph. It should only be a strange pill fragrance. Maybe it's a special 5th grade pill. The gloomy young man comforted himself because he did not believe that Lin Xian had such powerful strength and talent. Humph. We'll know soon whether or not he's pretending. His eyes were cold as he looked forward, staring at Lin Xian's actions. The surrounding people also held their breaths and stared at the wooden box in Lin Xian's hand. This time, Lin Xian was going to completely open the second wooden box. Looking at the surrounding people's gazes, Lin Xian sneered in his heart. This time he did not delay and quickly opened the second wooden box. Suddenly, an extremely strange pill fragrance wafted out and spread in all directions. Chapter 10:21. An extremely unique pill fragrance wafted out and instantly spread in all directions. This smell is so fragrant. Everyone was shocked when they smelled the pill fragrance. What kind of pill is this? How can it have such a fragrance? It can't be. Isn't it a 5th grade pill? How can it smell so good? Yeah, this fragrance is too magical. Just by smelling it, the spiritual power in my body is surging. Everyone exclaimed because the fragrance was too unique. It was far beyond their expectations. Could it be that it's not a 5th grade pill? Everyone looked at each other. They were puzzled because they knew that it was a 5th grade pill. It was impossible for it to emit such a fragrance. It can't be. Could it be a 6th grade pill? Many people's hearts beat wildly when they thought of this. Instantly, everyone turned their heads and looked at the cold-looking young man from the Shun family. That young man was a 6th grade alchemist, so he should know the grade of the pill. The Crimson Crescent City's disciples were also shocked, especially Murong Qingshu. He frowned and said in a deep voice, "Brother Shin, you are a 6th grade alchemy inscription master. I would like you to appraise the grade of this pill. To be honest, he was also very confused. However, he did not believe that Lin Xian could refine a 6th grade pill. Meanwhile, the cold-looking young man's eyelids twitched violently, and his face was full of shock. His eyes widened as if he had seen a ghost. He pointed to the front and trembled nonstop. A 7th grade pill. How is that possible? Finally, he could not help but scream out loud. What? A 7th grade pill? Everyone was stunned when they heard the cold-looking young man's voice. Is that for real? That pill is a 7th grade pill. Could there be a mistake? That's impossible. He's a 6th grade alchemist from the Shun family. How could there be a mistake? I'm not dreaming, am I? Lin Xian actually managed to concoct a 7th grade medicinal pill. Could he be a 7th grade alchemist? For a moment, everyone was discussing animatedly. Meanwhile, the Ryu family and the Shen family were dead silent. The disciples of the two families had ugly expressions as they looked to the front in disbelief. The Crimson Crescent City's disciples were even more shocked. Their minds went blank. They never thought that Lin Xian would actually give away a 7th grade pill. After all, 7 bottles of pills were extremely precious. Even 5th or 6th heavenly layer exalted realm experts would be moved by them. Moreover, that was just an ordinary 7th grade pill. If the pill in Lin Xian's hand had any special effects, it would definitely make countless powerhouses jealous. This gift was indeed precious. The Crimson Dragon, on the other hand, was laughing hysterically. Tears were flowing out of his eyes. This was because the expressions of the people around him were simply too interesting. These people wanted to watch a show and mock and despise Lin Xian, but they didn't expect that Lin Xian would directly take out a level 7 medicinal pill and knock them out. Now, these people were all shocked, and their eyes were filled with terror and fear. It was a stark contrast to the disdainful and mocking expression from before. On the other hand, Lin Xian said with a smile, "Hey, you, the genius alchemist from the Shin family, can you give me some pointers and see if there are any flaws in my pill? It'll save me a few years of detours." Hearing this, the corners of everyone's mouths twitched. They were speechless. Sarcasm, this was blatant sarcasm. You've already refined a 7th grade pill, and your strength is heaven-defying. However, the other party is only a 6th grade alchemist. Now, you're asking him to give you pointers. Isn't this a pure slap in the face? When everyone saw Lin Xian smile, they all understood. This guy must be doing it on purpose. First, he pretended to be weak and waited for the Shin family to jump out and clamor. Finally, he took out a powerful pill and ruthlessly slapped the Shin family's face. This was a conspiracy. For a moment, everyone looked at the area where the Shan family's disciples were, and their faces were filled with sympathy. When they heard Lin Xian's words, the Shan family's disciples' faces turned red, and they were so angry that their bodies trembled. This slap in the face was so resounding that it directly knocked them out. Even Shin Yulong's face darkened. He could not wait to leave in a huff. The gloomy young man's face was even uglier. He even looked a little ferocious. Previously, he was still acting high and mighty and wanted to give Lin Xian pointers. Now, Lin Xian took out a 7th grade pill and directly knocked him out. Thinking about what he said before, the gloomy young man was so regretful that his intestines turned green. He could not wait to find a hole to hide in. Someone who could refine a 7th grade pill needed his pointers? What a joke! Although there was only a 1 grade difference between the two, the gap between them was like heaven and earth. This huge contrast was unbearable for him. Seeing that the Shun family was dead silent and no one was talking, Lin Xian sneered in his heart. He picked up the wine glass on the table and slowly tasted it. Next to him, Murong Qingqing was also puzzled. Since when can you refine 7th grade pills? I just broke through recently. How is it? Surprised? Lin Xian laughed. It is indeed a surprise. Originally, I had some spiritual herbs and did not know what to do with them. Now, you can refine them into 7th grade pills for me. Murong Ching Ching covered her mouth and chuckled. From now on, you will be my professional alchemist. Lin Xian touched his nose helplessly. No problem. How can I not agree to your request? Seeing the two of them talking and laughing, the crowd was envious. Then they looked at the Shen family again and kept sighing and shaking their heads. Even the disciples of the Ryu family and Crimson Lunar City were gloating. At this time, the gloomy young man from the Shen family suddenly shouted, "Impossible! This is impossible! I don't believe it. I want to test the pills." He had a crazed look on his face as he quickly walked towards Lin Xian. His large hands were as fast as lightning as they reached for the wooden box on the table. "Humph!" Lin Xian snorted and waved his hand to put away the few bottles of pills. "Kid, I want to test the pills. Why are you stopping me? Are you guilty?" The gloomy young man shouted. He had to find out whether the pills were 7th grade pills or not. Otherwise, it would become his inner demon. Lin Xian sneered. "Do you think I will test the pills just because you say so? Who do you think you are? Why should I listen to you? This is not the Shin family. What if you use the excuse of testing the pills and secretly eat them? Wouldn't I be at a disadvantage?" Hearing this, the crowd vomited blood. No matter what, he was still the genius alchemist of the Shen family. How could he embezzle the pills in public? Obviously, Lin Xian was looking down on him. The gloomy young man's face darkened. He was so angry that his body trembled. "Kid, don't you dare slander me. I would never do such a thing. However, I must test the pills." He was going crazy. If he couldn't find out the truth of the pills, he would be traumatized when he refined pills in the future. If that was the case, his alchemy path would be ruined. Lin Xian didn't care if the other party was traumatized or not. He was unhappy that the other party had mercilessly suppressed him. Why would he care about these people now? Both parties were in a stalemate and were about to fight. At this time, a few elders from Crimson Lunar City rushed over. They had received news from their disciples and hurried over to stop the fight. After all, this was Crimson Lunar City's birthday banquet. If a fight broke out, they would be the ones to lose face. "Both of you, calm down. Why don't you let me test the pills?" Chapter 10:22. The two of you, please calm down. Why don't I appraise it? At this moment, a white-haired old man walked out. Seeing this old man, the disciples of Crimson Crescent City bowed. This old man was an alchemy master of Crimson Crescent City and was also a grade 6 alchemy master. When he heard that someone had taken out a grade 7 pill, he hurried over to take a look. Originally, Master Yen was doubtful and did not believe it. However, when he arrived at the scene and smelled the pill fragrance in the air, he became excited. With his strength and many years of experience, he was sure that this pill fragrance was not something that a grade 6 pill could emit. In that moment, he looked at Lin Xian with excitement. Although he had his doubts about whether Lin Xian could refine a grade 7 elixir pill, he was certain that it was a grade 7 elixir pill. "My friend, I am a grade 6 alchemy master of Crimson Crescent City. Can I take a look at the pill in your hand?" Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded and handed over the wooden box in his hand. Master Yin took a deep breath and quickly took the wooden box and opened it. Then his face was filled with shock as he stood rooted to the ground. There was no need to examine it. Just by looking at the pill markings and pill fragrance, he was sure that it was a grade 7 pill. "Old Yen, how is it?" Nearby, the other elders of Crimson Crescent City quickly asked. "Grade 7 pill. It's definitely a grade 7 pill." Hearing this, the elders looked at each other in shock. The surrounding crowd sucked in a breath of cold air as their faces were filled with shock. Previously, they were still doubtful. However, now that Master Yen of Crimson Crescent City had spoken, they were sure that it was a grade 7 pill. Lin Xian had actually refined a grade 7 pill. This news was like a bolt of lightning that shocked them. Although they were not sure if this pill was personally refined by Lin Xian, they were sure of one thing. If this was true, Lin Xian would be a grade 7 alchemy master. His status would reach a terrifying height. Thinking of this, the crowd's gaze towards Lin Xian changed. Originally, they thought that Lin Xian was just an ordinary person. They didn't expect that the other party was actually an alchemist. Moreover, his level was frighteningly high. I finally understand why he is able to walk together with Fairy Moreau. That's right, a 7th-tier alchemist. Just thinking about it is terrifying. No wonder he could obtain the favor of Fairy Moreau. Everyone sighed inwardly with deep envy. On the other hand, the gloomy young man from the Shen family had a crazy look on his face. Impossible, this can't be real. I must be dreaming. His expression was ferocious as he descended into madness. He did not expect that the pill in Lin Xian's hand was really a 7th-grade pill. This was unacceptable to him. As a genius alchemist, he had never placed anyone in his eyes. But now there was actually someone who was even more talented than him and had become a 7th-grade inscription master. This caused the self-confidence he had built up all this time to collapse in an instant. Little friend Lin, may I know the name of this 7th-grade medicinal pill, and what is its use? They were still unsure whether this 7th-grade medicinal pill was personally refined by Lin Xian. Therefore, they could only address him as little friend. Master Yan was also nervous. If Lin Xian was really a 7th-grade alchemist, then he could no longer address him as little friend. Instead, he would have to address him as master. This was the rule of this world. There was no seniority based on age. Everything was based on strength. If your strength was heaven-defying, even if you were only 1 year old, everyone would address you as a senior. If your aptitude was mediocre and did not have any abilities, even if you lived for a few hundred years, no one would place you in their eyes. Lin Xian did not care about these details. He slowly said, "This medicinal pill is called the purple spiritual pill. It is not a normal medicinal pill that can increase one's cultivation. Instead, it is a somewhat special medicinal pill." "Oh, somewhat special? How so?" Master Yan asked. Everyone pricked up their ears. "This medicinal pill can allow a person to enter a very special state. I call it the ethereal state. In this state, a cultivator's perception of their martial spirit and realm will be extremely sharp. In other words, a cultivator can use this ethereal state to perfect their martial spirit." What? Perfect their martial spirit? Hearing this, everyone was shocked and sucked in a breath of cold air. Exalt realm cultivators mainly cultivated their martial souls, and martial souls were very mysterious. They could only improve and perfect their martial souls when they advanced in the Exalt realm. Yet now a single medicinal pill could allow a cultivator to perfect their martial souls. So it was truly too precious. How long can this ethereal state last? Master Yan's voice was trembling at this moment. He really did not expect that the purple medicinal pill in front of him would have such a miraculous effect. Not much. Only an incense stick's worth of time. Lin Xian said indifferently. What? An incense stick's worth of time? Hearing this, everyone was so shocked that their eyeballs almost popped out. An incense stick's worth of time was not considered much? Then how much time was considered much? Everyone's mouth twitched. One had to know that this was the ethereal state. It was something that could perfect one's martial spirit. Not to mention an incense stick's worth of time. Even 1 second was considered quite a lot. Master Yan and the other elders were also shocked. They never imagined that this young man in front of them would take out such a precious item. Soon, the news spread everywhere, and even the important figures in the hall were alarmed. One had to know that although these big shots were strong, their martial spirits also had flaws. It was just that it was not easy to detect. But now, there was a medicinal pill that could allow them to discover the flaws in their martial spirits and perfect their martial spirits. This was definitely a fatal temptation to them, because when one's martial spirit was perfected, one's cultivation strength would increase. The two of them influenced each other. Even Ancestor Chi Yu was not spared. In the end, he walked out of the hall with the other big shots. "Greetings, Ancestor." Seeing Ancestor Chi Yu walk out personally, the disciples of Chi Yu City hurriedly knelt down. The surrounding cultivators also bowed down one after another. Ancestor Chi Yu and the rest did not care about these details. They quickly walked to Lin Xian's side. Among these people, an old man in a dark green robe walked out. He had a strong and obscure aura around him. He quickly took the purple spiritual pill and carefully inspected it. "Master Mo, what do you think?" At this moment, Elder Yen asked softly. "Master Mo." Hearing this name, everyone was shocked. One had to know that Elder Yen was already a grade 6 pill inscription master. To be called a master by him, one could imagine how noble his status was. They guessed that this old man in a dark green robe was most likely a grade 7 pill inscription master. Thinking of this, everyone's expression was shocked. They looked at the dark green figure with deep respect. A grade 7 pill inscription master was definitely terrifying. He was an existence that all the big forces respected. Master Mo carefully inspected it for a moment. He then said in a deep voice, "That's right. It does have such an effect." Hearing this, the big shots behind him took a deep breath. Their eyes were burning with passion. Chapter 10:23. Even though they had lived for countless years, they still couldn't help but feel excited when they heard this. Master Mo, who was dressed in dark green robes, looked at Lin Xian with shock in his heart. The youth in front of him was truly too young, yet the latter's soul strength was abnormally strong, not much weaker than his own. It was the first time he had seen such a terrifying soul power at such a young age. "Little friend Lin, do you still have this pill?" Master Mo asked hopefully. Lin Xian shook his head slightly and said, "This pill was refined by chance. I only have one in my possession." Hearing this, Master Mo sighed and handed the purple spirit pill to Ancestor Chi Yu. "Old friend, you're so lucky." Master Mo sighed, and the other big shots looked at Ancestor Chi Yu with envy. Ancestor Chi Yu took the pill and smiled with satisfaction. "Since that's the case, I won't be polite. Thank you for the pill." "Senior, you're too polite," Lin Xian said. "Little friend Lin, why don't you come in and talk? I have some alchemy matters to discuss with you," Master Mo said with a smile. The other big shots also threw out olive branches, and some even invited Lin Xian to be their guest alchemy elder. Seeing this scene, the surrounding warriors were envious. These were all true big shots. They were all 5th or 6th heavenly layer venerables. Being on good terms with them would definitely benefit them in the future. Lin Xian also smiled and replied, "All right, I'm representing Senma College this time, and I have something to discuss with you seniors." "Oh, representing Senmu College?" Ancestor Chi Yu and the other big shots were stunned. They originally thought that Lin Xian was just an alchemy master, but they didn't expect him to represent Senmu College at the birthday banquet. If it was true, then his identity was very different. Senmu College was a very powerful force, and it was not inferior to the House of Kings, the representative sent by the Immortal Martial Academy. Putting aside his cultivation base, just his status alone was sufficient to allow him to sit on equal footing with these major characters. One had to know that this identity was different from Shen Yulong, who was a core disciple of the House of Kings. Shen Yulong was only here as an individual. Therefore, although his identity was extraordinary, it was not enough to shock Ancestor Chi Yu and the others. This was because He could not represent the Shin family. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was different. As the representative of Senmu College, his words could very well represent the intentions of Senmu College. Ancestor Chiyu and the others could not ignore this. Thinking of this, Ancestor Chiyu's expression turned serious as he said in a clear voice, "Lin Gongzi, please." Lin Xian entered the main hall at the invitation of all the important figures. Of course, Murong Qingqing was also with them. Her status was even nobler than Ancestor Chiyu's, so no one cared where she wanted to go. As for the remaining group of ancient martial art practitioners, they were completely stunned. Their minds were blank, and they could not believe it. Am I dreaming? Wasn't he brought here by Murong Qingqing? How did he become the representative of Senmu College? Who is this kid? Why do I feel that he is so mysterious? Everyone was talking about it, and they were very shocked. The disciples of Crimson Crescent City looked solemn and worried. One had to know that they had not treated Lin Xian well previously. If Lin Xian were to say something to Old Master Red Crescent City, they would be in deep trouble. Shin Yulong, Lu Yiol, and the others also looked gloomy. Every identity of Lin Xian made them extremely jealous. They were of noble status and extraordinary talents, and they were usually surrounded by stars wherever they went. But now they had been surpassed by someone else, and the other party was their enemy. This made them very unhappy, and there was even a trace of murderous intent in their hearts. Outside, the ancient martial art practitioners were discussing animatedly. Inside the main hall, the big shots were also shocked. This was because just a moment ago, Lin Xian had told them about the Immortal Martial Auction, and he had officially invited them to participate in the first Immortal Martial Auction. Ancestor Chiyu and the others were very surprised. They did not expect this young man to be so bold as to establish a new Immortal Martial Auction in the territory of the Vientiane Auction. One had to know that the Vientiane Auction was a subordinate force of Prince Lingfeng. By doing this, he was completely going against Prince Lingfeng. However, what made them even more surprised was that Lin Xian had received the support of Senmu College. This caused everyone to be incomparably shocked, because the Immortal Martial Academy had always been neutral. Although they had their own businesses, they didn't have any conflicts with the other thrones. This time, they seemed to have violated this principle and directly stood on the opposite side of Prince Lingfeng. Prince Lingfeng did not only have his own force, but he also had the palace of Ares behind him. That was one of the top forces on the mainland, and it was not at all weaker than Senmu College. Were these two great powers going to fight for supremacy? Everyone's heart sank. It seemed that the Blood Realm was not going to be peaceful. However, these people did not reject the invitation to this auction. After all, they had to give face to Senmu College. Moreover, even if Prince Lingfeng was angry, he could not find fault with them. Therefore, Ancestor Chiyu and the others quickly agreed with a smile. After that, they talked about other things. Master Mo and Lin Xian discussed the purple spirit pill. Of course, Lin Xian did not mention anything other than the prescription. He also discussed everything else with Master Mo. After all, Master Mo was a genuine 7th grade pill refiner. His experience and strength were also incomparably strong. It was a good opportunity for Lin Xian to exchange his insights and verify what he had learned. The more Master Mo talked, the more shocked he became. Although the youth in front of him was young, his knowledge and attainments in alchemy were far beyond his imagination. He had never even heard of some of the theories on alchemy before. This made him extremely shocked, and he could not help but be even more curious about Lin Xian. Lin Xian talked with many important figures for a long time before he came out with Murong Qingqing. Not long after he came out, news of Senmu College's invitation quickly spread. Everyone was shocked when they found out that Lin Xian had invited all the important figures in the main hall to participate. This was definitely a big deal. Just from the name of the Immortal Martial Auction, it was obvious that Senmu College was behind it. In an instant, the surrounding martial artists were all excited. They were extremely curious about the immortal martial auction, and many even went to ask Lin Xian about it. The Shun family disciples looked gloomy and snorted coldly. The Ryu family disciples, on the other hand, looked somewhat ferocious. In particular, Lu Yi's eyes were filled with murderous intent. The auction that Lin Xian had established was originally the Wanxiang auction. However, the Wanxiang auction had been chased away by Lin Xian. The Wanxiang auction was a subordinate force of Prince Lingfeng. The Ryu family was also one of the 8 great families under Prince Lingfeng. Their interests were the same as Prince Lingfeng's. Therefore, Lin Xian's establishment of the immortal martial auction was undoubtedly a slap to their faces. It even harmed their interests. Chapter 10:24. When he saw all the forces surrounding Lin Xian, he was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. One must know that he was not only here for the birthday celebration, but also for another reason. He wanted to make friends with the various forces and bring them under Prince Ling Feng's command. But now it seemed impossible. Seeing Lin Xian surrounded by the crowd, Lu Yil snorted coldly. I advise some people to know their place. An auction is not something that can be built just because you want to. Let's not talk about other things. Can you guarantee that the entire auction will be safe? If something goes wrong, I'm afraid you will become a laughing stock. Hearing this, the crowd was shocked and kept silent. Judging from Lu Yil's tone, the smell of gunpowder was too strong. Moreover, they knew about the grudge between the two parties. Not long ago, the two had even fought. Now, because of the auction, Lu Yil had developed a strong animosity towards Lin Xian. You don't have to worry about whether I can protect it or not. At least, someone like you won't be able to cause any waves in the immortal martial auction. Lin Xian said coldly, whether I can cause any waves or not, you can give it a try. Lu Yil shouted coldly and stood up abruptly. His eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent, and his entire body emitted a terrifying aura. He was like a peerless beast that was awakening. Seeing the other party's ferocious look, Lin Xian's face darkened. If you want to die, I can fulfill your wish. The other party's continuous provocation was already on Lin Xian's blacklist. If he did not teach the other party a lesson today, the Ryu family would continue to jump around in front of him. You don't deserve to own the auction. That was originally the Wanxiang auction's territory. It belongs to our young master Lingfeng. I will let you know that there are some things that you can't touch. Lu Yil's expression was cold, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Who dares to try to kill me? Lin Xian sneered. All those who have tried to kill me are no longer around. I advise you to keep your tail between your legs. Don't forget that you were no match for me before. I was careless before and didn't use my full strength. If I had used my full strength, you would have died without a doubt. Lu Yil's voice was sonorous as he released his spiritual power. He was like a peerless, ferocious beast, carrying a terrifying aura as he pressed down on Lin Xian. Sensing this aura, everyone's expression changed. They no longer surrounded Lin Xian and quickly retreated. There was nothing they could do about it. Lu Yil's aura was too terrifying. Just as aura alone was unbearable. You want to fight? I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian said coldly, leave Crimson Crescent City. Don't disturb other people's birthday banquet. It's the same no matter where you go. You won't be able to change your fate of death. Since you want to choose a suitable grave for yourself, you can go wherever you want. Lu Lai's words made everyone's heart tremble. It seemed that this battle was unavoidable. Then they were extremely excited. The two of them had fought before, and they were evenly matched. Lin Xian had the upper hand. If the two of them were to fight with their lives on the line, they did not know what the outcome would be. At this moment, countless cultivators were excited. They were looking forward to this battle. At the same time, they were discussing softly and guessing the outcome. Lu Yil was extremely powerful. He had reached the 4th level of the Venerable Realm at such a young age. Moreover, he was a genius disciple of the Ryu family. His strength was enough to compete with the core disciples of the House of Kings. Lin Xian was even more extraordinary. The short exchange between the two of them showed that Lin Xian's strength was at least at the 4th level of the Venerable Realm. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to compete with Lu Yil. Moreover, he had an even more dazzling identity, a grade 7 pill inscription master. That was an identity that everyone looked up to. Both of them were top young geniuses. Therefore, this battle would definitely be a battle between a dragon and a tiger. How can we miss such an exciting battle? At this moment, Shen Yulong also walked out with a cold smile on his face. He and Lin Xian were not on good terms. Now that there was such an opportunity, he naturally would not miss it. Next to him, murderous Qingyan also had a cruel smile on his face. Even though Lin Xian could concoct a 7th grade pill, and even though Lin Xian's talent was greater than his, if he died he would be nothing. Thinking of this, he could not help but tremble. He must kill Lin Xian in this battle. Be careful, Murong Qingcheng reminded him. The other party is as famous as the core disciples of the House of Kings. He must be extraordinary. Don't underestimate him. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Lin Xian nodded slightly. Then his figure flashed and he rushed into the sky, flying out of Crimson Crescent City. Murong Qingcheng carried the snow-white monkey and also flew into the sky. The Crimson Dragon also turned into a ray of light and followed behind. After Lin Xian moved, Lu Yil also snorted coldly and quickly flew up. The surrounding martial artists also moved. They would not miss such an exciting battle. Everyone flew quickly and quickly followed Lin Xian. Soon they left Crimson Crescent City and arrived at a mountain. Whoosh! Lin Xian landed on a mountain peak. This was a mountain range. The peaks were steep and precipitous, and the trees were lush. It was a primitive scene. On the mountain peak, terrifying winds whistled like blades. Lin Xian stood on the mountain peak, his black hair fluttering. He stood with his hands behind his back, looking extremely fierce. The martial artists who came to watch the battle landed one after another and chose a suitable place to observe. Lu Yil stood in the void and looked down. In the sky, the wind whistled, but it could not move Lu Yil's clothes. His entire body was emitting light, enveloping the entire sky. Crimson red spiritual energy burned, like a sun shining in all directions. In his hand a long spear appeared. The spear was extremely red, like a burning flame. With a light shake, a terrifying force destroyed the mountain peak below. Lu Yil held the fiery red spear in his hand. His gaze was cold as it pierced through the void. The terrifying light was vast and mighty. His aura was too strong. His entire person was like a peerless beast, unstoppable. On the mountain peak, Lin Xian stood proudly like an immortal, and as sharp as a blade. Invisible auras gushed out crazily, and the two's auras surged in the air. Bang! Bang! A deep sound rang out, and a shocking crack spread out in the air. It was 1,000 meters long. Everyone was shocked and quickly retreated. They realized that they were too close to the two, and the terrifying killing intent was flying towards them. A mountain peak was split in half by the aura of the two. On the other side, the endless forest collapsed, and the trees were turned into powder. The scene was too terrifying. The two had not even made a move, but they had already caused such a scene. Fortunately, the two of them did not make a move in Crimson Crescent City. Otherwise, the entire Crimson Crescent City would be in trouble. Even Shen Yulong, Murong Qingshu, and the others looked solemn as they stared at the battlefield. In the next moment, Lu Yil made his move. He let out a long roar, and the terrifying sound waves dispersed the clouds in the sky. Then he held the fiery red spear in his hand tightly and stabbed it out. Chapter 10:25 Raging Dragon Spear Technique. Willow Lance immediately used the Ryu family's secret technique, the Raging Dragon Spear technique. The fiery red spear emitted a blazing light that turned into countless spear lights that flew out quickly. Each spear light turned into a dragon that roared at the sky, and the sound shook the surroundings. The entire sky was filled with the shadows of the dragons, and the void trembled as if it couldn't bear it. Looking at this terrifying scene, Lin Xian frowned slightly. He had seen the Raging Dragon Spear technique before. Willow Lance had used it in the demon-slaying world. But now, the power that Lu Yil used was several times stronger than Willow Lance's. This was no longer a spear light, but a real flood dragon. Its huge body carried a terrifying power as it surged forward. Countless mountains below were crushed into rubble. Willow Lance was indeed very powerful and had the ability to look down on everyone. Lin Xian also roared and pulled out the Lone Star sword from his back. A sonorous sword sound was heard, and it was like a bolt of lightning that flashed across the void. In the next moment, terrifying cracks spread rapidly in all directions. With a sweep of the sword light was monstrous, and the sword chi surged, turning into a boundless sea of blood that exuded a terrifying, bloodthirsty aura. Seeing Lin Xian make a move, everyone was shocked and their mouths were wide open. Every single one of them was incomparably blood-red in color and emanated a monstrous aura of slaughter, causing everyone's hearts to tremble and even their bodies to tremble. The blood-red sword chi was too terrifying, and it could even affect the blood in their bodies. It was as if all the blood in their bodies had been taken away and merged into the blood-red sword chi. The blood-red sword chi surged and could affect the blood in a person's body. This caused everyone to be extremely terrified. How could they fight? They would probably lose all their blood before they could even make a move. Countless blood-red sword chi surged, and the terrifying sword light was so sharp that it seemed to be able to cut open the world. In the next moment, the blood-red sword light collided with the dragons in the sky, and there was a deafening roar. Endless flames surged, and terrifying lightning struck in all directions. The entire world was destroyed. Lu Yil looked up to the sky and let out a long howl. Spiritual energy burned all over his body, making him look like a god. He mustered all of his strength and charged downwards. In addition, Willow Lance looked extremely ferocious, like a demon god, like a bloodthirsty demon king. He rushed down with thousands of flood dragon spear lights. Die, brat! His voice was like thunder rumbling down. Lu Yil stabbed down with his fiery red spear. The mountains shook and spiritual energy surged. The berserk spear light enveloped the entire mountain range. In the distance, everyone's eyelids twitched when they saw this. This Lu Yil was too strong, as if he wanted to destroy the entire world. He had made up his mind to kill in this battle. Apart from Shen Yu, Long Morong, and Rong Qingshu, no one else could withstand such a terrifying attack. It was so much so that a single strand of aura would be able to completely exterminate them. However, Lin Xian was not afraid at all. He looked up at the sky with an extremely cold expression. In the next moment, he waved his Lone Star sword again. Streaks of sword chi rushed into the sky and slashed upwards. Every slash of the sword slashed a flood dragon into two halves. In an instant, the sky was filled with sword chi, and the flood dragon shadows split apart, turning into spiritual energy and dissipating in the sky. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked again. Was Lu Yil going to be suppressed again? Lu Yil shouted again, "Martial soul out!" Following his roar, the spiritual energy behind him surged crazily. A fiery red light soared into the sky and tore it apart, as if a demon king had been reborn. It was a huge flood dragon, and the scales all over its body were emitting light. It was as dazzling as a real flood dragon. This flood dragon was over 300 meters long, and its huge body filled the sky. It waved its huge claws and easily tore the void apart. The flood dragon martial soul was Lu Yiol's martial soul. After summoning his martial soul, Lu Erli's strength reached its peak. His strength rose again and reached a new peak. In the next moment, he waved the fiery red spear in his hand and launched a fierce attack. Behind him, the huge flood dragon martial soul surged and moved quickly along with Lu Yiol's movements. It roared into the sky. The light around its body condensed and turned into streaks of light that fell downwards. This scene was extremely terrifying, and it could kill an ordinary fourth-rank supremacy. However, Lin Xian stood in the sky like a peerless god of death, and his body was surrounded by blood-red sword qi. He waved his Lone Star sword, and streaks of sword qi shot out in all directions, as if they were splitting the sky and earth. At this moment, Lin Xian unleashed the power of the great dragon sword soul to the extreme. At the same time, he waved his hand, and an ice lotus quickly formed in front of him. Ice Lotus Martial Soul. Facing the powerful Lu Yiol, Lin Xian summoned his second martial soul. Frost qi surged, and boundless cold air spread in all directions. Instantly, the trees in the 3 rivers below were all frozen, and a world of ice and snow was quickly formed. Not only that, even the streaks of light in the sky were frozen, and their speed became very slow. Some of them were even frozen into ice cubes and fell to the ground. Lin Xian waved his arm, and all the attacks were unable to get close to him. How terrifying! The cold air is too shocking. It can even freeze a spear. When the crowd saw the scene in front of them, they were extremely shocked. Lin Xian's strength was beyond their expectations. Xin Yulong frowned. He did not expect Lin Xian to have such a powerful martial soul, and even be able to suppress Lu Yiol. On the other side, although Murong Qingshu didn't say anything, his eyes flickered with an uncertain light. It was obvious that the scene before his eyes had also caused him to be extremely shocked. Murong Qingqing was like a fairy with a beautiful smile on her face. As for the other martial artists, they were all stunned. In the distance, Lu Yiol stood in the sky, his black hair fluttering. His eyes were like sharp swords, piercing through the void, and his body's spiritual energy was burning fiercely. I didn't expect you to have an ice spirit martial soul, and to be able to resist my furious dragon spear art. However, do you think you can win like this? You're too naive. Lu Yiol's voice was as cold as a sharp blade. What other tricks do you have? Use them all. I'll let you know that all your tricks are useless in front of me. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous. Lu Yiol snorted. He stood on the huge flood dragon, holding a long spear in his hand. He looked like a god of war, and his expression was extremely cold. In the next moment, he flipped his palm. A big black bow appeared in his hand. It was a black bow like a full moon. It was pitch black, and there were many mysterious patterns on it. The big black bow was as heavy as Mount Tai, and a black aura hung down, causing the entire void to buzz and tremble. Not only that, but with its appearance, there was an additional murderous intent in the sky that made people's hearts tremble. This murderous intent was too terrifying. It was like a divine sword that could destroy the sky, and it made people's hair stand on end. For a moment, the whole world was filled with a murderous aura. Feeling this aura, everyone trembled. Shen Yulong, Murong Qingshu, and the others frowned, and their expressions became extremely solemn. Could it be the black dragon bow? Shen Yulong's expression was full of surprise. Chapter 10:26. The black dragon bow was a famous weapon. Rumor had it that it was made from the tendons of a real dragon. Ever since the black dragon bow was born, it had killed many powerful warriors. It could be said to be incomparably fierce. Isn't that Prince Ling Feng's weapon? I didn't expect him to give it to Lu Yil. Rumor has it that Prince Lingfeng used the black dragon bow to kill a sixth heaven venerable. One can imagine how terrifying the black dragon bow is. Now that Lu Yil is using it, I'm afraid that Lin Xian is in danger. Many people discussed animatedly. Murong Qingqing's expression was also solemn. She had naturally heard of the black dragon bow's fierce reputation. However, she still chose to believe in Lin Xian because even she could not fully understand Lin Xian's trump card. She thought that he should have a way to resist the black dragon bow. It spun like a black bow, like a real dragon in the void. A terrifying bloody aura spread in all directions. The murderous aura formed a materialized light that swept across heaven and earth. The aura was too terrifying. It was as if the gates of hell had opened and countless demons had come to the human world. Lu Yil held the black dragon bow in his hand and became demonic. Then he flicked it gently. Buzz! Immediately, there was a buzzing sound in heaven and earth. The sound was very terrifying. It shook the void as if countless demons were roaring crazily. Kid, it's your fortune to be able to die under the black dragon bow. Lu Yil's expression was cold like a god fiend. The black dragon bow had once killed a sixth heavenly layer venerable realm expert. Killing Lin Xian would be a piece of cake for it. Lu Yil's black hair fluttered in the wind. He held the black dragon bow tightly with his other hand on the bowstring. Terrifying spiritual power surged and formed a fiery arrow. In the next moment, a scarlet arrow flew out quickly. A red arrow flew towards Lin Xian like a bolt of lightning, accompanied by the furious roar of a dragon. The arrow carried a terrifying murderous aura that pierced through heaven and earth. It was as if a dragon had appeared and roared in all directions. That aura was too terrifying, as if it could pierce through heaven and earth. It carried a monstrous killing intent as it rampaged through the void. Wherever it passed, pitch-black vortexes appeared in the void. When the crowd saw this scene, their hearts trembled violently. Some of the weaker ones were so frightened by the murderous aura that they fell to the ground. Even Xin Yulong, Murong Qingshu, and the others had ugly expressions on their faces. That aura could still threaten them. As expected of the black flood dragon bow, it's really fierce. Murong Qingqing held the snow-white fox in his arms and looked ahead with a serious expression. The crimson dragon beside him was very excited. Kid, kill him and take that black bow. The moment the black dragon bow appeared, the crimson dragon took a fancy to it. According to his many years of experience, this black flood dragon bow was definitely not simple. It was very likely that it was a half-earth step artifact. Lin Xian was also surprised. He did not expect Lu Yil to have such a powerful weapon. Its aura was not any weaker than his Lone Star sword. Facing that terrifying arrow, Lin Xian did not dare to be careless. He held the Lone Star sword tightly and pushed the great dragon sword soul with all his might. Then he swept it upwards. Sword Qi surged as the divine sword appeared in the sky. The sword heavily struck the blood-colored arrow, producing a loud sound that shook the heavens. The terrifying sound wave shattered more than 10 mountains in the vicinity. In the end, the blood-colored arrow that was filled with murderous aura was deflected by Lin Xian's sword. What? He actually deflected the arrow from the black flood dragon bow. Seeing the scene, everyone was shocked. That was the black flood dragon bow, Prince Ling Feng's weapon. It was a powerful weapon that killed a 6th-level supremacy. Now, this weapon was given to Lu Yil. Although Lu Yil's strength was not as strong as Prince Ling Feng's, there was no doubt that he could kill a martial artist of the same level with this weapon. Now, Lin Xian deflected the arrow from the black flood dragon bow with a single strike. It was too shocking. Seeing this scene, Lu Yil snorted in disdain. He held the black flood dragon bow in his hand and stood in the void. He looked down like a demon god. Don't be so smug. I just shot that arrow casually. I didn't use much strength. Now, I'll show you the true power of the Black Flood Dragon Bow. Lu Yil's voice was cold as if he was the Grim Reaper. What? A casual strike. Hearing this, everyone's hearts trembled violently. That's too terrifying. A casual strike is already so terrifying. If he uses his full strength, how terrifying will it be? No one dared to imagine. In the next moment, under countless horrified gazes, Lu Yil drew the Black Flood Dragon Bow again. Suddenly, an arrow filled with murderous intent flew out. It was as if a flood dragon had been born. A terrifying aura swept across the void and instantly tore the void apart. A black crack appeared in the void. The entire void seemed to have been torn in half. The ground and mountains below were also split open. The terrifying murderous intent destroyed everything within a 10-mile radius. This arrow was as if a peerless demon had been born. Lin Xian let out a long roar and activated the great dragon, Sword Soul, to the extreme. He waved the Lone Star sword and slashed continuously. Streaks of sword chi flew out and slashed the terrifying demonic dragon's body. Clanging sounds were heard and countless sparks flew. It was as if a comet had hit the ground. This weapon was too terrifying. It was stained with the blood of a powerhouse and carried a demonic aura. Now that it was activated by Lu Yil, it was even more powerful. Murong Qingshu's expression was solemn. The terrifying murderous intent shocked him. The terrifying arrow whistled through the air with a monstrous, murderous intent. It was like a long rainbow that instantly attacked below. If it were other honorables, they would not even need to fight back. The murderous intent that they emitted would be enough to crush them. Moreover, what made people's scalps go numb was that after shooting this arrow, Lu Yil did not stop. Instead, he waved his arm again and shot out 5 more arrows. The 5 arrows that were filled with murderous intent swept across the void and flew quickly toward Lin Xian. This time, Lu Yil was determined to kill Lin Xian. He was determined to kill him and nail him to the ground. Lin Xian's expression was also cold. He quickly activated his ice martial soul and merged it with the Lone Star sword. In the next moment, a monstrous chill was emitted. Countless snowflakes surrounded him, and he was like the ice god. With the Lone Star sword in his hand, he quickly rushed forward. Taking the initiative to attack? He is too bold. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts trembled violently. If an ordinary person were to encounter such a situation, they would definitely use their extreme speed to dodge. However, Lin Xian took the initiative to meet the attack. Could it be that he is not afraid of the murderous intent? In fact, no one knew that Lin Xian was not afraid of the murderous intent. One had to know that he had inherited the Blood Sword King's legacy and cultivated the Tao of slaughter. Therefore, although the murderous intent of the Black Dragon Bow was strong, it did not affect him. Moreover, Lin Xian did not intend to hold back this time. He had to take the initiative to attack and kill his opponent. The moment he rushed into the sky, the red lotus battle armor quickly formed and wrapped around his body. The terrifying murderous intent and monstrous chi waves were all blocked outside of his body. Lin Xian was like a sword god as he rushed forward and killed in all directions. Chapter 10:27. Lin Xian swung his Lone Star sword continuously. Every sword chi was thicker than a mountain. It was as if they were the swords of a god. They heavily slashed at the 5 dragon arrows. Boom! Suddenly, a huge explosion occurred in the void. Endless light flickered and waves of air rolled, annihilating the sky. This was not the end. Lin Xian used the phantom demon steps to increase his speed to the extreme. He quickly shuttled through the void and rushed towards Lu Yil. Although the Black Dragon Bow was fierce and powerful, it was also a long-range weapon. It would not be of much use in close combat, so Lin Xian chose to fight in close combat. Moreover, He had the Red Lotus armor to protect his body. He was not afraid of close combat at all. In the next moment, he arrived in front of Lu Yil like a ghost. He quickly swung his Lone Star sword, forming a mysterious sword chi, and slashed forward. "You're courting death." Lu Yil was furious. He did not expect that the other party would dare to fight in close combat. Moreover, he was able to arrive in front of him so quickly. This shocked him. In the next moment, he held the black dragon bow and used it as a long saber, sweeping it out. The black dragon bow was made from a real dragon. It could be said to be incomparably hard. It had already entered the ranks of Earth-rank treasures. Therefore, even if it was used as a long saber, the power would be unimaginable. A sonorous sound rang out. The entire void trembled. The ground below was also shattered into countless pieces because of the sound waves. The two of them fought in close combat. It was very intense. The terrifying aura was vast and mighty. The two of them fought all the way. Everywhere they passed, mountains and rivers would collapse. It was extremely terrifying. The people in the distance were shocked. This level of battle was too exciting. Every move was incomparably terrifying. If they went up, they would probably be turned into a bloody mist in an instant. The two of them exchanged dozens of moves. It was earth-shattering. On the other hand, Lu Yil was extremely furious. His expression was ferocious because every time they collided, he had to expend a lot of energy to block the energy waves. However, the other party was different. Lin Xian's red armor blocked all the energy waves, making him very brave and fierce. He would not be injured at all. In this tense situation, Lin Xian fought more and more bravely, and gradually showed signs of suppressing him. This was intolerable to him. "Get lost!" Lu Yil roared. His black hair fluttered in the wind as if he had gone mad. He quickly put away the black dragon bow. With a roar, the spirit energy in his body surged. The huge shadow of the black dragon quickly swam behind him and attached itself to his arm, completely merging with his right hand. The current situation was no longer suitable for him to use the black dragon bow, so Lu Yil did not hesitate. After fusing with the Jiao dragon martial soul, his right hand became extremely strange. The scales on it shone as if there was a Jiao dragon circling around it. When the fist struck out, a dragon's head condensed into a gauntlet that wrapped around the entire fist. Then Lu Yil threw out a punch. The fist wind surged like a flood dragon attacking, instantly shattering the void. The terrifying fist force spread out in all directions, causing the entire void to tremble. Jiao Dragon Arm. This was Lu Yil's killing move. By fusing his martial soul with his arm, it produced a powerful attack that could even kill a fifth heaven honorable realm cultivator. Lu Yil's arm was like a demon, like a Jiao dragon coiling around it. His entire arm was emitting a cold metallic light. On his fist, a dragon's head roared ferociously. Its cold eyes opened, carrying a ruthless and powerful aura that made one's heart tremble. Bam! That punch completely enveloped Lin Xian and sent him flying. Fortunately, Lin Xian had the Red Lotus armor to protect his body, so he did not suffer any serious injuries. However, the terrifying force still caused his blood to churn. Needless to say, Lu Yil was indeed a powerful opponent. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. He snorted coldly and quickly attacked. He activated his great dragon sword soul and released streaks of true dragon sword chi, which slashed upwards and collided with the Jiao dragon fist. In an instant, the two exchanged dozens of blows. What? He can actually resist the Jiao dragon's wall. Everyone was shocked. Lu Yil was even more shocked. This was already his most powerful killing move, but it still could not do anything to Lin Xian. He could not accept this. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth and ferociously gathered the spiritual energy in his head, forming a huge vortex that quickly surged into his entire arm. Then, the spiritual energy quickly burned and turned into a powerful energy. Dragon dances in the 9 heavens. Lu Yul roared into the sky and punched out with all his might. 9 Jiao dragon shadows quickly surged out from his fist and circled around ferociously. Die, brat! Accompanied by the 9 Jiao dragon shadows, Lu Yul's ferocious laughter resounded in the sky. The 9 Jiao dragon shadows were too terrifying. They sealed the entire void, and the boundless spiritual energy seemed to want to refine Lin Xian. Feeling the aura, everyone was terrified and quickly retreated. Even Murong Qingqing frowned and was extremely nervous. The crimson dragon waved its dragon claws and said fiercely, "Brat, take out your trump card and kill him." Lin Xian felt a great sense of danger. The 9 Jiao dragon shadows above him were too terrifying, and they made him shudder with fear. If he was hit by the 9 Jiao dragon shadows, he was afraid that even with the Red Lotus armor he would be seriously injured. This was not the result he wanted. Therefore, in the next moment, he flipped his palm and a bright red glove covered his fist. On it, a red lotus bloomed enchantingly. As soon as the glove appeared, it immediately emitted a dazzling light that rushed into the sky like a rainbow. Even the pressure formed by the 9 Jiao dragons was greatly dispersed by the light. Red lotus sky splitting. Lin Xian swung his fist and directly punched out. With a flash of light, a huge red fist shadow quickly flew toward the 9 Jiao dragon shadows. In the fist shadow, there seemed to be a red lotus swaying slightly and emitting a terrifying aura. What kind of fist technique is this? It's too terrifying. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts almost jumped out of their chests. Their mouths were dry, and they could not believe it. Xin Yulong and Murong Qingshu were also shocked at this moment because they could clearly feel the aura of the red lotus glove. It was not any weaker than the Lone Star sword. What kind of weapon was that? Was it also a half-earth rank weapon? Both of them were shocked. In front of everyone's horrified eyes, the red lotus fist shadow was extremely powerful. It violently collided with the Jiao dragon shadows, and an earth-shattering sound was heard. Suddenly, the entire void exploded. The 9 Jiao dragon shadows were torn apart like cloth. What? This is impossible. Lu Yul screamed. He was stunned and his mind was blank. That was his ultimate move, but it was easily torn apart in an instant. How was this possible? One had to know that this move was extremely terrifying. It had fused with the power of a martial soul. Even an ordinary 5th-rank honorable realm would have to use all of his strength to block it. However, Lin Xian was in the same rank as him, but he had broken his attack so easily. He could not believe it. However, while he was in a daze, the huge red lotus fist shadow had already broken through the defense of the 9 Jiao dragons and rushed toward him. In an instant, the red light that filled the sky drowned him. Chapter 10:28. The terrifying red lotus fist shadow surged and engulfed Lu Yul in an instant. It was a terrifying scene. The entire sky was shrouded in crimson light like a fiery sunset. Lu Yul's entire body was submerged in the endless crimson light. Below, everyone was watching anxiously. At this moment, a scream sounded in the sky. Then a figure flew out like a shadow. Along with the figure, countless flowers of blood splattered in the sky. What? He's injured. When the crowd saw this scene, they all exclaimed in surprise. They naturally knew who the figure that flew backwards was, because only Lu Yul was submerged in the crimson light, while Lin Xian was standing on the other side like a god of death. The one who flew out was naturally Lu Yul. His entire body seemed to have been struck by lightning, and most of the bones in his body were broken. The punch just now was too terrifying. He couldn't resist it at all. Fortunately, at the critical moment, he used his mutated flood dragon arm to block in front of his body and counteracted most of the force. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as simple as a serious injury. That punch would have turned him into a bloody mist. Rumble. After smashing more than 10 mountains in a row, Lu Yiel's body slammed heavily into the ground. Suddenly, the entire ground trembled, and a terrifying, deep pit quickly formed. Seeing this scene, everyone's mouths were wide open and their minds went blank. Shen Yulong frowned, and his face was terrifyingly gloomy. Obviously, this scene was beyond his expectations. Next to him, the cold 6th-grade alchemist's face was even more ferocious. Murderous intent surged in his eyes. He didn't expect Lin Xian to have such terrifying combat strength in addition to his extraordinary talent in alchemy. This made him extremely jealous. In the distance, Murong Qingcheng let out a sigh of relief. She had a beautiful smile on her face, and her jade-like hands kept rubbing the snow-white little monkey in her arms. The ground below cracked, and countless cracks spread out for thousands of miles, splitting the entire ground into several pieces. Not far away, the mountain peak collapsed, forming countless huge rocks that littered the ground, forming a ruin. Ah! At this moment, an extremely furious roar came from the ruins. It was like the howl of a devil and was extremely terrifying. Then a terrifying force surged out and blasted all the huge rocks away. Lu Yiel's figure appeared. He crawled up from the ground with great difficulty. His body was swaying, and his body was covered in blood. He looked extremely miserable. However, his eyes were abnormally cold. It was terrifyingly cold, like a cold blade that made people's hearts tremble. More than half of his chest had caved in, and the ribs in his chest were all shattered. However, it was as if he didn't feel anything. He ignored the injuries all over his body and raised his head, staring coldly into the void. "Brat, how dare you injure me? I'll kill you." This voice was incomparably ferocious, as if a demon had crawled out of the void, causing people who heard it to have goosebumps. Lin Xian coldly snorted. "You're already injured to this extent. How are you going to kill me? How laughable! You will soon know how to kill you." Lu Yiel's voice was cold and his eyes were filled with madness. Then he rubbed his finger against the storage ring and quickly took out an elixir. This elixir was personally given to me by Prince Lingfeng. It was supposed to be used to save my life, but I didn't expect to use it here. "Brat, you made me waste a peerless elixir for no reason. I'll torture you to death later and let you taste all the torture in the world." Lu Yiel's voice was cold and his eyes were filled with reluctance. However, he gritted his teeth and quickly swallowed the elixir. Then his entire body made cracking sounds. Those broken bones quickly healed, and so did the injuries all over his body. Not long after, Lu Yiel was completely healed. What kind of elixir is that? It's so heaven-defying. He recovered from such serious injuries in an instant. Oh my God, Lu Yiel is too terrifying. He actually has such a powerful technique. Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. Lin Xian furrowed his brows as his expression darkened. He was well aware of the injuries caused by the previous punch. It was definitely a serious injury. Even a 5th-level honorable realm cultivator would not be able to recover in a short time. However, a single elixir had changed the entire situation. It had allowed the heavily injured Lu Yiel to recover to his original state. Moreover, the spiritual power that he had consumed was also replenished. This caused Lin Xian to be extremely astonished. As an alchemist who had obtained the inheritance of King Pilplume, he could be said to have extraordinary knowledge in the path of alchemy. Thus, he was even more aware of how terrifying this type of alchemical pill was. To be able to achieve this effect, it was at least a 7th-level elixir, or even an 8th-level elixir. He really did not expect Lu Yiel to have such a top-grade elixir. Shan Yulong, Murong Qingshu, and the others were also extremely shocked. Undying Golden Elixir. He actually has the Undying Golden Elixir. Murong-Qing was extremely shocked. How did this guy do it? First, he had Prince Ling Feng's 10,000 dragon bow, and now he even has the undying golden elixir. He's just a genius from the Ryu family. How could he have so many treasures? Murong-Qing was too shocked because the undying golden elixir was a treasure that only Prince Ling Feng had. Just from the name, one could tell that as long as a martial artist did not die, they could immediately recover after consuming one. This was definitely a heaven-defying elixir. This kind of elixir was usually bestowed by Prince Ling Feng to his ministers. Lu Yil was so young. How could he have gotten such an elixir? Beside him, Xin Yulong's face was also gloomy. He said in a low voice, "According to the news I received from my family, it seems that Prince Ling Feng has taken a liking to Lu Yil's sister. That's why the Ryu family status has risen, and why Lu Yil has such a treasure." Lu Yil's sister, no wonder. If she could become Prince Ling Feng's woman, her family would definitely benefit greatly. This also explained why Lu Yil had so many treasures in his possession. After hearing this, the surrounding people were envious. They all wished that everyone could have a beautiful sister who could be chosen by Prince Ling Feng. Then they would also be able to soar into the sky. In the distance, Murong-Qing frowned again. This scene made her worried again. Meanwhile, the Crimson Dragon's mouth was wide open, drooling nonstop. Damn! The undying golden elixir. It's the indestructible golden elixir. Isn't that elixir recipe lost? I didn't expect it to appear here. This is good stuff. He kept shaking his head, appearing to be very excited. Below him, Lu Yil's body had returned to normal. The corner of his mouth curled into a cruel smile. "Kid, I'll let you know the meaning of regret." "Oh no, I'm afraid he still has a trump card that he hasn't used yet." Hearing Lu Yil's words, Murong-Qing was shocked. Lin Xian, on the other hand, frowned because he realized that the other party was not boasting. He could clearly sense that Lu Yil's aura had suddenly become stronger, far stronger than before. 9 turns of the Netherworld mantra. Lu Yil shouted angrily. His expression was unusually cold. His black hair fluttered in the wind, making him look like a demon that had just walked out of hell. His entire being was extremely demonic. An extremely terrifying and strange aura erupted from his body and swept across the entire area. Chapter 10:29. 9 turns Nether Mantra. Lu Yil roared as his black hair fluttered in the wind. His entire being was like a demon from hell, becoming abnormally demonic. A strange and terrifying power erupted from his body and swept through the heavens and the earth. Feeling this aura, the surrounding people's faces changed, especially Xin Yulong, who immediately screamed. 9 turns Nether Mantra? How is this possible? He actually knows the 9 turns Nether Mantra. Brother Yulong, what exactly is this 9 turns Nether Mantra? Shen Yaotian and the others asked in a trembling voice. This is also Prince Ling Feng's cultivation technique. It's a powerful earth-grade martial art. I didn't expect Prince Ling Feng to pass this down to Lu Yil. He was too shocked. One had to know that the 9 turns Nether Mantra was a true earth-grade martial art. Its power and value were measurable. Earth-grade martial art. Hearing this voice, everyone was stunned as they looked at the sky in horror. Earth-grade martial arts were the top martial arts in the continent. It was something that every martial artist dreamed of obtaining. They didn't expect Lu Yil's final trump card to be an earth-grade martial art. Lin Xian was probably in danger. The power of an earth-grade martial art was mysterious and unfathomable. It was absolutely terrifying. Indeed, with Lu Yil's strength, if he used an earth-grade martial art, even an ordinary fifth heaven supremacy would find it difficult to contend against him. Although Lin Xian had the Lone Star Sword, his opponent's Black Dragon, Bao, was not to be trifled with. In this comparison, Lin Xian was definitely at a disadvantage, unless Lin Xian also had an Earth-grade martial art. However, did Lin Xian really have an Earth-grade martial art? No one knew what was going on. Everyone was looking ahead nervously. This battle was really too exciting. Every time both sides used their trump cards, it was beyond their expectations, causing them to be extremely shocked. Among those of the same level, even those of the older generation could not compare. Lin Xian felt this aura and his expression turned grave. What a terrifying aura. This was an Earth-tier martial art. His voice was extremely solemn. Clearly, this aura made him feel a great pressure. 9 turns Nether Mantra, first form. Lu Yil's voice was terrifying to the extreme. Countless rays of light shot out from his body, incomparably dazzling. At this moment, his Flood Dragon martial art also separated from his right arm and circled around his body, completely fusing with him, making him look like a war god. Boom! Along with his voice, a terrifying aura quickly gushed out from his palm. In an instant, a large mountain near him was razed to the ground. The terrifying aura didn't stop and continued to surge forward. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he felt the threat of death looming over him. His body swayed as he executed the illusory demon steps and quickly retreated. At the same time, he tightened his grip on the Lone Star Sword. The great dragon sword soul circulated rapidly within his body, and a sharp sword soul aura erupted from his body. Boom! In the next moment, a terrifying deep pit appeared where Lin Xian was standing. It was extremely huge, as though it was connected to hell. This was too terrifying. If Lin Xian was a step later, he wouldn't be able to resist that terrifying power even with the Red Lotus armor. The power of the 9 turns Nether Mantra didn't dissipate. Instead, it surged again and flew towards Lin Xian, determined to blast him into dust. Seeing this, Lin Xian didn't hesitate any longer. He quickly took a deep breath and waved the Lone Star Sword. Streaks of mysterious trajectories were drawn in the air. Lin Xian quickly swung his sword and scattered them in front of him. Rumble! The sky seemed to have been sliced apart as a gigantic sword shadow formed above. In the end, it slashed down violently on the gigantic light with an incomparably violent and supreme posture. Boom! The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless huge mountains were razed to the ground and rivers flowed backward, forming endless waves of air. Seeing this scene, everyone's heart trembled violently. They all exclaimed, "He blocked it! How is this possible?" The 9 turns Nether Mantra was actually blocked. They were all stunned. They didn't expect such a violent attack to be blocked by Lin Xian. No one dared to imagine. That was an Earth-rank martial art, the top cultivation technique on the continent. It couldn't be helped. Earth-rank martial arts were too famous. Every martial artist knew the terror of an Earth-rank martial art. It could be said that whoever had an Earth-rank martial art could soar to the sky. Killing people above one's level was nothing difficult. But now, Lin Xian actually blocked the terrifying Earth-rank martial art. This made everyone's head explode. What? How is this possible? This is impossible. Lu Yil's pupils also constricted. A pair of cold eyes stared fixedly at Lin Xian. He didn't expect that even an Earth-rank martial art like the 9 turns Nether Mantra couldn't kill Lin Xian. This made it hard for him to believe. "Kid, I have to admit that you have indeed exceeded my expectations. But today you will definitely die because that was just the first move of the 9 turns Nether Mantra. Next, let's see how many moves you can block." At the end, Lu Yil's entire body was incomparably malevolent. The netherworld aura on his body overflowed into the sky. His entire person was like a peerless demon, terrifying and terrifying. In the distance, when everyone heard this, they were incomparably shocked. Just the first move was terrifying to such an extent. Then wouldn't the following moves be heaven-defying? At the same time, they were also extremely shocked by Lin Xian. To be able to block such a terrifying and powerful move, it was really unexpected. That sword technique just now was very terrifying. I guess it's very likely to be an Earth-rank martial art. Otherwise, it would be impossible to block the 9 turns nether mantra. Morong Qingshu said in a deep voice. Everyone was incomparably excited. This battle was too exciting. At this moment, Lu Lai, who was at the front, shouted again. 9 turns nether mantra, second move. As he waved his palm, an incomparably dark ray of light gushed out from his palm. It carried a monstrous chilling aura as if the gates of hell had opened. Boom! Demonic clouds surged into the sky as black gas shrouded the area. The scene in front suddenly changed drastically as if it had turned into a hellish azure field. It made one's scalp tingle. Then, the dark demonic fog quickly surged and gradually formed a black figure. It was a human figure that was incomparably dark, like black jade. On his head, there was a pair of devil horns and a pair of huge black wings on his back. He held a crescent-shaped sickle in his hand and emitted a chilling aura of death from his body. The human figure stood quietly in the void, emitting a monstrous, murderous aura as if he had walked out from hell. This was the power of the second move of the 9 turns nether mantra, forming a netherworld envoy. Although it was just a mass of energy, it was too terrifying. It was even more terrifying than a true honorable realm expert. Then, under the horrified gazes of the crowd, the netherworld envoy moved. He took a step forward, and dark demonic runes rose from his feet. Like a wave, they quickly spread out in all directions. The void shattered, the mountain below collapsed, and the ground sank. Violent energy quickly swept across the world. At this moment, 2 balls of black flames appeared in the eyes of the netherworld envoy. They emitted an extremely cold light as they stared at Lin Xian. Chapter 1030. The netherworld messenger's cold eyes were like 2 sharp swords that pierced through the void and stared at Lin Xian. In the next moment, he quickly waved the crescent scythe in his hand and slashed down. A monstrous killing intent erupted like a flood and swept out in all directions. A pitch-black ray of light surged like the river Styx and slashed down rapidly in the void. It was as if it could split mountains and rivers and destroy the heavens. The pitch-black energy howled like a raging wave and formed an irresistible aura. It surged forward as if it was going to swallow Lin Xian whole. The scene was so terrifying that everyone in the surroundings exclaimed in shock. Murong Qingqing's beautiful face was also extremely solemn. She had even activated the spiritual energy in her body and was ready to strike at the critical moment. Lin Xian used the illusory demon steps and retreated continuously. At the same time, the red lotus armor on his body emitted a demonic light. A red lotus appeared and swayed continuously, forming a force that blocked the incoming energy. At the same time, he snorted coldly. "You want to kill me? Not so easy. At the very least, you're not strong enough." Lin Xian's expression was cold as he quickly waved the Lone Star sword in his hand. Gale Lightning Sword, Dual Sword Star Destruction. In the sky, 2 gigantic sword shadows formed. They were like heavenly swords that descended rapidly. The sword slashed the entire sky into pieces. The terrifying aura shocked everyone. The gigantic firmament sword shadow seemed to be able to destroy the stars in the sky. The thick sword aura directly cut the ground in half. Lin Xian waved his sword and controlled the firmament sword shadow to collide with the black crescent scythe. Suddenly, a deafening sound rang out. Endless light burst forth like a rain of light and scattered in all directions. The entire void was in a state of chaos and countless shocking cracks were spreading out. Even Shin Yulong and the rest were shocked and their pupils constricted. Even they could not do anything in such a situation. This was because the two of them were already at the peak of their level. The two energies were too terrifying. Any level 4 supremacy would be turned into ashes instantly. Even a level 5 supremacy would not be able to hold on for long. These two can be called monsters, Morong Qingshu said in a deep voice. In front of them, Lin Xian's expression was cold and his aura was sharp. He had used the second move of the Gale Lightning Sword and blocked the opponent's attack. At the same time, he did not stop. He quickly waved the sword in his hand, and the third move of the Gale Lightning Sword was quickly formed. The azure blue sword moved quickly in the air, forming a very mysterious trajectory. Suddenly, the clouds in the sky, another gigantic firmament sword shadow, formed a gigantic sword shadow of the firmament sword. The moment the third firmament sword shadow was formed, it brought with it an earth-shattering aura as it danced swiftly in the void. It was as if the firmament gods and demons, as if demons were gods. Gale, lightning sword, 3 swords frighten ghosts and gods. Suddenly, firmament sword, Lin Sun, Lin Xianlin, heaven! Lu Lai was enraged. Originally, he thought that by taking out the 9 revolutions nether mantra, he would be able to easily kill his opponent. However, he did not expect Lin Xian to be the same as him and possess an earth rank martial art. Therefore, the two of them were in a stalemate again. Now, the opponent dared to take the initiative to attack. This made him furious. Taking a deep breath, Lu Yil's expression was cold. His eyes emitted a ferocious light. 9 turns nether mantra, third move. As he roared, the pitch-black, dim, radiant emissary in front of him became even more terrifying. Mysterious patterns started to form on the gigantic, evil demon wings. They were filled with a terrifying aura of death. He was like the Grim Reaper. As he walked on the ground, every step he took cracked the void. He quickly waved the death scythe in his hand. Countless black lights surged and turned into boundless demonic chi that devoured everything in front of him. This was the aura of the netherworld. It could take away all life. It was extremely terrifying. Everyone in the distance felt their hearts tremble. It was as if the Grim Reaper was choking them. They could not breathe. Even Shen Yulong's face was covered in sweat. Lin Xian was also under great pressure. The surging black fog formed a huge netherworld beast in the void. It roared at the sky as if it was going to devour him. Fortunately, he had the Red Lotus armor. It could withstand most of the pressure. Even so, he still felt his blood boil and his bones crackle. One could imagine how terrifying the opponent was. However, his strength was also extremely powerful. With a serious expression, he quickly waved the Lone Star sword in his hand. The third firmament giant sword carried an aura that could annihilate gods and demons. It quickly descended. The giant sword and the giant beast fought in the air. The momentum was terrifying. The entire sky was drowned. At this moment, Lu Yil's lips curled into a cruel smile. The murderous intent in his eyes became even stronger. Die brat! Following his words, the pitch-black netherworld emissary suddenly moved. Its gigantic evil demon wings spread out. In an instant, it disappeared on the spot. What? So fast? Shen Yulong was shocked. His pupils constricted. He did not even see the opponent's movements. Lin Xian, be careful! In the distance, Murong Qingqing also shouted a warning. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He activated the Red Lotus armor to the maximum. However, in the next moment, a black shadow suddenly appeared in front of him. It was so fast that he did not even have time to react. The netherworld emissary was like the Grim Reaper. He came to Lin Xian's side and took away the boundless netherworld chi. He raised the death scythe in his hand and slashed it down at Lin Xian. Seeing this, Everyone's hearts were in their mouths. Murong Qingqing's expression changed. She did not expect the black shadow to be so fast. It was too late for her to make a move now. She could only place her hopes on Lin Xian. The netherworld emissary in front of them swung the death scythe and shot out a pitch-black ray of light. A ball of black light, like a demonic light, devoured everything. It brought with it the terrifying power of death and slashed down. Bang! An earth-shattering sound rang out. The void trembled and formed a huge black hole. It expanded rapidly and occupied half the sky. Countless rays of light were swallowed by the black hole. The scene was too terrifying. The entire sky was covered by the black hole. What? He was hit head-on. It's over. It's over. Lin Xian will definitely not be able to block this move. It's a true Earth-grade martial art. Lu Yil is too powerful. He actually has so many treasures in his hands. Countless people exclaimed. Shen Yulong and the cold alchemist Ming heaved a sigh of relief. Their eyes were filled with excitement. No matter how powerful Lin Xian was, he had no chance of survival after being hit head-on by the netherworld emissary. The gloomy alchemist revealed a sinister smile. So what if Lin Xian's talent was good? He was still dead. His heart was filled with the pleasure of revenge. In the sky, Lu Yil laughed wildly. His terrifying voice shook the mountains and rivers. Lin Xian. Murong Qingqing looked at this scene, and a trace of despair appeared in her eyes. That beautiful face of hers was filled with endless pain. Then, her whole body started to shake slightly, and a trace of intense killing intent appeared in her eyes. A terrifying purple aura gushed out from her body. It was as if the purple aura came from the east and enveloped her delicate body. If Lin Xian died, she would not let Lu Yil leave alive. Chapter 1031. Murong Qingqing had a murderous look on her face as she was surrounded by a boundless purple aura. Her eyes were like lightning as she stared coldly at the sky above the building. In the next moment, her body swayed and she shot up into the sky like a bolt of purple lightning. "Little girl Murong, don't be rash!" The Crimson Dragon shouted, but he was still a step too late. In an instant, Murong Qingqing was in the sky. She waved her jade-like hand and slammed it down on Lu Yil. The void trembled as a giant purple palm formed. It was like the palm of a demon god as it slammed down from the sky. This change was so sudden that everyone was stunned. Lu Yil's laughter suddenly stopped. He looked up and his pupils constricted. At the same time, he snorted and continued to use the 9 turns nether mantra to control the nether emissary to attack the giant purple palm. An earth-shattering sound was heard as the two collided. The entire void collapsed quickly. Lu Yil took 3 steps back. He was shocked, and his heart was beating wildly. This palm was too terrifying. It was beyond his expectations. Fortunately, he had the 9 turns nether mantra and managed to block the palm. However, he was extremely vigilant. His eyes were like lightning as he stared coldly in front of him. This collision also caused Murong Qingqing to stop. She floated in the void like a peerless fairy, exuding a terrifying, murderous aura. Seeing that it was Murong Qingqing who attacked, Lu Yil's face darkened. He asked in a low voice, "Fairy Murong, what do you mean by this? If he dies, you will be buried with him." Murong Qingqing's voice was cold, but her meaning was clear. She wanted to avenge Lin Xian. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists were in an uproar. However, Murong Qingqi's face changed drastically. His body swayed and he flew up into the sky. He quickly said to Murong Qingqing, "Qingqing, Brother Lu is an important guest of the Murong family. Moreover, this battle was initiated by Lin Xian. Now that his strength is inferior..." Before Murong Qingqiu could finish speaking, Murong Qingqing snorted coldly. His entire body turned cold. "You dare to stop my decision?" His voice was filled with dominance. You misunderstood. That's not what I meant. Hearing this, Morong Chingshu quickly shook his head. His expression became very ugly, but he didn't dare to say anything. Although he was the young master of Crimson Crescent City was only a branch of the Morong family. The girl in front of him was the real princess of the Morong family. That status was something that even their old ancestor could not compare to, let alone him. The difference between the two of them was like heaven and earth. Therefore, he did not dare to refute Morong Chingching's words. Morong Chingching, I respect you as the little princess of the Morong family. I don't want to have a conflict with you, but don't go too far. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Lu Yil's voice was cold. The current situation didn't allow him to show any weakness. If Morong Chingching attacked, he wouldn't be the only one who would be unlucky. All the disciples of the Ryu family would be in trouble. Morong Chingching didn't care about anything. She shouted, I've said it before, if I kill him, you'll be buried with him. As soon as she finished speaking, the purple gas became more and more condensed. It was like a purple cloud that enveloped Morong Chingching's delicate body. Then a terrifying power was released from her body. Lu Yil's expression was ferocious. He summoned the netherworld messenger back to his side. He was like a peerless demon, insolent beyond compare. Just as a battle was about to break out between the two of them, a light cough suddenly came from the berserk energy. Hearing this, Morong Chingching's delicate body trembled. Her beautiful face was filled with joy. Lin Xian, he's fine. Sure enough, in the next moment, a figure flashed and appeared beside Morong Chingching in an instant. Lin Xian. Seeing this figure, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to still be alive. What? That's impossible. Lu Yil screamed. His eyes were filled with shock. He couldn't help but be shocked. The attack just now was one of the killer moves of the 9 turns Nether Mantra. Even a level 5 supremacy would die from it. But now, Lin Xian was still alive. This was just too shocking. Morong Chingshu, on the other hand, heaved a sigh of relief. He didn't want to see Morong Chingching and Lu Yil fight. You're injured, Morong Chingching said with heartache when she saw that Lin Xian was covered in blood. I've made you worry. Leave the rest to me. Lin Xian had blood on the corner of his mouth, but his eyes were unusually bright. Okay. Morong Chingching nodded, turned around and floated down. Since Lin Xian was still alive, she wouldn't attack again. After all, this was a battle between men. After Morong Chingcheng left, Morong Chingshu also quickly left. Only Lin Xian and Lu Yil were left in the sky. Humph, you're really lucky. You're still alive? Lu Yil's voice was ferocious. You want to take my life? It's not that easy. Lin Xian said coldly. Fortunately, he had the Red Lotus armor to protect him. Otherwise, that attack would have taken his life. You're the first person to injure me so badly, so you must pay the price. Lin Xian gripped the Lone Star sword tightly and looked straight ahead. Humph, you're just lucky that you're fine. Let's see if you can survive this time. Lu Yil's expression was ferocious. In the next moment, the spiritual energy in his body surged. The demonic clouds behind him tumbled, and he became terrifying and violent again. The Nether Messenger beside him flapped his demonic wings and charged toward Lin Xian like a bolt of black lightning. Previously, this was the move that severely injured Lin Xian. So, when the crowd saw this move again, they looked nervous and paid close attention. Lin Xian's expression was cold as he waved the Lone Star sword in his hand again. Gale Lightning Sword, Fourth Sword, Earthquake Sky. This time, Lin Xian directly used the fourth sword of Gale Lightning Sword. Moreover, he held the huge firmament sword shadow in his hand and swept it out. With a swing of the sword, the world lost its color. The sword shadow emitted a blinding light that was more dazzling than the sun. It quickly slashed through the void. Rumble. The entire sky shattered as if someone had flipped it over. The terrifying sword radiance destroyed everything. The nether messenger had nowhere to hide and was instantly enveloped by the sword. The entire sky was bright as if countless suns were shining at the same time. The crowd could not help but scream as they covered their eyes and retreated. The radiance was too sharp. It was as if thousands of sword radiances had scattered in all directions. It was so bright that the crowd could not open their eyes. When the radiance in the sky disappeared, the crowd dared to open their eyes and quickly looked toward the sky. They happened to see the last scene. The nether messenger with the demonic horns on his head and the black demonic wings on his back disintegrated and turned into black gas that scattered in the sky. Lu Yil was also hit by the terrifying sword radiance. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. His body was covered with countless sword wounds. One of them even penetrated his chest and almost split him in half. Chapter 1032. Ah! Lu Yil screamed crazily. He couldn't believe that his opponent could still injure him when he was using the third move of the 9 turns nether mantra. This was completely out of his expectations. The Ryu family disciples below screamed when they saw this scene. Everyone had a horrified expression on their faces. Lin Xian was too powerful, so powerful that they were terrified. Lin Xian moved quickly and rushed forward under everyone's horrified gaze. After severely injuring Lu Lai with one strike, Lin Xian moved his body and transformed into a beam of sword aura, quickly dashing forward. Lin Xian wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity to take his life while he was down. Lu Yil kept retreating. His tall body was covered in blood. He roared at the sky, and his black hair danced wildly. His eyes were filled with fear and anger. He was shocked. He didn't expect to be seriously injured, even after using his last trump card. His pupils shrank when he saw Lin Xian rushing toward him. He twisted his body and used the 9 turns nether mantra to stabilize his body. At the same time, the nether chi behind him surged and formed a pair of black demonic wings that carried him to fly rapidly. Lin Xian roared and formed a pair of tempest wings on his back. Strange runes flowed on the wings, and the wings flapped, increasing his speed to the extreme. The tempest wings and the earth-class movement technique, illusory demon steps, allowed him to catch up with Lu Yil in an instant. Lu Yil's expression changed when he saw the figure close in on him. A hint of madness appeared in his eyes. 9 turns nether mantra, the 4th move. With his current strength, he could only use the first 3 moves of the 9 turns nether mantra. His body couldn't withstand the nether chi if he used the 4th move. However, he didn't have time to think about it. He had to dodge Lin Xian's attack first. Therefore, he gritted his teeth and prepared to use the 4th move of the 9 turns nether mantra. However, Lin Xian's long sword slashed down as soon as he did. The terrifying sword aura shattered the void and forcefully interrupted his mantra. Boom! Lu Yil didn't have a strong defense like Lin Xian. Therefore, he was seriously injured by the sword and fell down. Ah, kid, how dare you hurt me? I'll kill you! Lu Yil roared crazily. In the battle between the two of them, Lin Xian once again gained the upper hand and suppressed her. She couldn't tolerate this at all. However, he couldn't stand it. He couldn't stand Lin Xian's swordsmanship. Now, just as he was roaring madly, a huge sword shadow formed above him and quickly slashed towards him. This sword was too terrifying. It contained the terrifying power of an earth tier martial art. In an instant, it tore open the sky and ruthlessly enveloped Lu Lai. No. Seeing this, the countless sons of the Lu clan howled madly. Their eyes were filled with fear and despair. Lu Yil's pupils constricted as he felt the fear of death. At the critical moment, He used all his strength to burn his spiritual energy and activated the 9-nether mantra. The black demonic wings on his back flapped and the runes on them shone brightly. He moved horizontally. However, Lin Xian didn't intend to let him go. His black hair fluttered in the wind. He looked like a sword god. He stretched out a huge palm and grabbed the nether mantra. Then, he slashed down in Lu Yil's direction. Boom! The entire void exploded once again. This sword strike shattered all the surrounding mountains, and a 1,000-mile-long crack appeared on the ground. Lu Yil couldn't escape from the nether mantra, even though he had the demonic wings. His left arm was sliced off by the berserk firmament sword shadow, causing blood to splatter everywhere. The scene was too shocking. Everyone was stunned. The surrounding cultivators were all stupefied. They were like stone statues, their minds blank. They didn't expect the powerful Lu Yil to have his arm cut off. This was simply too shocking. Lu Lai's body moved horizontally as he roared at the sky. He was in a state of madness. His left arm had been turned into powder by the sword shadow. It no longer existed, and only countless blood flowers floated in the air. He couldn't bear to lose an arm. Ah! Lu Yil went crazy. The nether mantra behind him surged and burned, forming the fire of the nether. The pitch-black flames danced, carrying a strange and terrifying aura. It was like the flames of hell, causing people's hearts to tremble. The flame covered Lu Yil's body. Countless flames danced on his left arm and formed a force to heal the wound. Lin Xian's nether mantra was too powerful. Lu Yil couldn't get rid of it with his spiritual energy. He had to use the nether mantra to resist the nether mantra. Soon, the wound stopped bleeding, but his left arm was gone forever. You dare to cut off my arm. I want you dead. Lu Yil looked crazy. He couldn't accept it. Losing one of his arms had damaged his image, and his strength had also been greatly reduced. Moreover, it would be the shame of his life. It was worse than killing him. When the crowd saw this scene, they were even more terrified. That was Lu Lai. He had already used an earth-tier martial art like the 9-nether mantra, but he still had one of his arms chopped off. No one had expected such an outcome. Even Shen Yulong and Morong Qingshu looked gloomy and their eyelids twitched. To be honest, they thought they were peerless talents. However, compared to Lin Xian, there was a huge gap. The gap was hard for the two to accept. In front, Lu Yil went crazy. He burned his spiritual energy and turned it into nether mantra. He wanted to use the 4th move of the 9-nether mantra. He roared crazily. His hair fluttered, his body was covered in blood, and his expression was ferocious. Around him, the netherworld qi gradually swelled up, rolling like the waves of the sea. In the distance, Lin Xian snorted, "Don't struggle anymore. You don't have a chance." He wouldn't give Lu Yil another chance to use the nether mantra. In the next moment, he turned into a sword gleam and rushed forward. He waved the Lone Star sword in his hand and circulated the longevity incantation in his body. He absorbed the spiritual energy around him. Lin Xian once again struck out with the Gale lightning sword in a domineering manner. The huge sword shadow filled the sky and emitted an aura that made people despair. Lu Yil shouted angrily. With his strength, he couldn't use the 4th move of the 9-nether mantra. He had to burn his spiritual energy and disregard the consequences. Even so, he was only barely able to unleash it. However, he couldn't resist the terrifying sword. He couldn't even use the 4th move. Boom! Lu Yil was hit by the sword and flew out like a kite. Another terrifying sword soul appeared on his body. Fortunately, he had the nether mantra around him and blocked some of it. Otherwise, the sword would have cut him in half. Even so, he still suffered an unimaginable injury. Chapter 1033. Not only that, the 9 turns nether mantra was forcefully interrupted, causing him to suffer from the backlash of his cultivation technique. His entire body suffered severe internal injuries. Even the spiritual power in his body became sluggish. It could be said that at this moment, Lu Yil was extremely weak due to internal and external troubles. On the other hand, Lin Xian became more and more courageous as the battle progressed. The art of longevity in his body had a powerful recovery and circulation ability, giving him an endless supply of spiritual power. On the other hand, the great dragon sword spirit boosted Lin Xian's combat strength to the extreme. Therefore, at this moment, Lin Xian was like a sword god, unstoppable. Bang! Another sword slash viciously landed on Lu Yil's body. Suddenly, a sword wound appeared on his body, and one could clearly see the deep white bones and churned flesh. Lu Yil went completely crazy. He disregarded all consequences and swung his right fist to resist Lin Xian. The nether chi pulsed and wrapped around his fist, forming a strange force to resist Lin Xian's sword aura. The two of them exchanged a few moves. Lin Xian's sword aura became more and more fierce. He swung his sword 5 times in a row, all of which slashed at the fist. Suddenly, the powerful nether fire was also extinguished by the fierce sword light. Seeing this scene, Lu Yil was shocked, and a trace of despair appeared in his eyes. That was the nether fire. It was the most powerful flame he could form by burning his spiritual power, but it couldn't resist Lin Xian's sword aura. He couldn't believe it and turned to flee. The current Lin Xian's momentum was too strong, and he couldn't resist at all. However, Lin Xian was faster than him. The moment Lu Yil moved, Lin Xian quickly used the Ice Lotus Martial Soul. A powerful icy force enveloped the surroundings, immediately slowing down Lu Yil's speed. Streaks of blue icy aura surged, forming countless frost, as if they were about to freeze him. Damn it, get out of my way! Lu Yil was extremely angry. He quickly burned his spiritual energy to form the netherworld flame to resist the ice. However, what awaited him was another sharp sword light. This sword light drew a strange arc in the air and quickly chopped at his right arm. Suddenly, a powerful light burst out. With a blood-curdling scream, Lu Yil's right arm was chopped off again. Blood gushed out and dyed the sky red. Ah! Lu Yil let out a blood-curdling scream. Both of his arms had been chopped off. It could be said that he had completely lost the ability to fight. If he didn't have a heaven-defying elixir, it would be impossible for him to recover his arms with his current cultivation. In other words, he would become a cripple in the future. This was worse than killing him. Everyone was shocked once again. Their eyes were filled with fear. The powerful Lu Yil had lost an arm again. This was too terrifying. They knew that Lu Yil had lost. Not only had he lost this battle, but he had also lost his life in the future. A martial artist without arms was like a tiger without claws and teeth. They were afraid that Lu Yil would fall from the ranks of geniuses in the future. He might even be worse than an ordinary person. Murong Qingqing's lips curled up. She knew that Lin Xian had won this battle. No. In the sky, Lu Yil let out an indignant roar. He seemed to have gone crazy. He quickly burned all the spiritual energy in his body. Even his blood was burning. Brat, I'm going to kill you. Lu Yil's voice tore through the sky and shook the 9 heavens. He was like a demon, making one's scalp tingle. Under his desperate urging, the chi of the netherworld around him grew more and more, and then quickly enveloped him. A pitch-black netherworld armor quickly formed and covered Lu Yil's entire body. 2 ghostly claws formed where his severed arms were. It was extremely dark and terrifying. At this moment, Lu Yil's aura was too terrifying. Wearing the netherworld armor, the netherworld flames danced on it, making him look like a demon king from hell. In the next moment, his body swayed and he charged toward Lin Xian like a bolt of black lightning. Haha, let's die together. Lu Yul's face was ferocious, and there was a trace of despair in his eyes. Oh no, he wants to perish together with us. Murong Qingqing became nervous again. Everyone around them was nervous. They stared at the sky and held their breaths. Lin Xian was also shocked. He could naturally sense how powerful his opponent was. He had sacrificed his life in exchange for power. His opponent's netherworld armor was probably no weaker than his Red Lotus armor. Moreover, his opponent was determined to perish together with him. Therefore, he could no longer hold back. An ice lotus formed under his feet. Lin Xian released his ice lotus martial soul and quickly released the merciless power of wind and snow. A violent snowstorm quickly formed around him, and a dark blue world of ice and snow quickly took shape. Lin Xian did not do this because he wanted to use his ice lotus martial soul to resist Lu Yul. Instead, he wanted to use the endless snowstorm to block everyone's vision. In the next moment, he was going to release his great dragon sword soul. The surrounding snowstorm became more and more intense, forming a light screen that covered a radius of 100 miles. No one could see what was happening inside. And now, Lin Xian had summoned her great dragon sword soul. A dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in front of him. It was like a real dragon, and it crushed the void. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian reached out and grabbed the dragon-shaped sword hilt. Then, a dragon's roar resounded through the sky. In the next moment, a sword radiance lit up as if a real dragon had been born. It roared and surged forward. This sword radiance was so sharp that nothing could stop it. It was like a divine sword radiance that swept and destroyed everything. Bang! In the next moment, the dragon-shaped sword radiance collided with Lu Yul. Bang! 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 A terrifying explosion rang out. Under Lu Lai's horrified gaze, the underworld armor on his body was cut in half. Not only that, his entire body was cut in half along with his underworld armor. Even though he knew that he was going to die, Lu Yul did not believe that Lin Xian could cut through his underworld armor. One had to know that even a fifth heaven supremacy could not cut through the armor, but Lin Xian had done it. He did not have the chance to think about why, because his body had been cut in half. He could not be more dead. Lin Xian also withdrew his great dragon sword soul. His face was extremely pale. This battle was too intense. His opponent was very powerful and had used many trump cards. Therefore, he had used too many trump cards, causing him to expend too much energy. Fortunately, he had a powerful cultivation technique, like the longevity art. Otherwise, he would not have been able to use so many powerful martial arts. In the next moment, Lin Xian withdrew his ice lotus martial soul and the surrounding world of ice and snow. The crowd below could not wait any longer. When the world of ice and snow appeared, they were abnormally anxious because they realized that they could not see the situation inside clearly. Even Shen Yulong and Murong Qingshu were the same. Fortunately, they did not have to wait for long before the world of ice and snow disappeared quickly. It disappeared. Is the battle over? Someone exclaimed. Instantly, everyone was shocked and looked up to take a closer look. Then they were all stunned. Their minds went blank and they were dumbfounded. This was because they saw Lin Xian standing in the void with a pale face. In front of him was Lu Yul, who had been cut in half. What? Lu Yul is dead. He was cut in half. Was he killed by a single sword radiance? Chapter 1034. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. They didn't dare to believe it because they had seen with their own eyes how Lu Yul wanted to perish together with his opponent. It was too terrifying. Even a fifth-level venerable wouldn't be able to resist it. However, Lu Yul was dead and Lin Xian was fine. What happened? Lu Yul used such a powerful move, but he was still killed. What kind of martial arts did Lin Xian use? Everyone was puzzled and discussed spiritedly. They knew that all of this had happened when the world of ice was formed, but none of them could see the situation inside clearly. They only knew that Lu Yil had been split in half. Lu Yil's death caused a huge shock to everyone. They didn't expect that such a battle between the top young geniuses would end like this. That was Lu Yil. He was a top genius and had many trump cards in his hand. In the end, he even used an earth-tier martial arts, but he was still killed here. Everyone looked at Lin Xian in the sky with reverence. Shan Yulong and the 6th grade alchemist beside him had gloomy expressions. Their eyes were filled with shock. They felt as if they were dreaming, and they didn't dare to believe what had happened. Especially Shan Yulong. His entire body trembled slightly. One had to know that Lu Yil was an expert who was on par with him, but now he was killed. Didn't this mean that even he wasn't a match for Lin Xian? The 6th grade alchemist's expression was even more ferocious. He clenched his fists tightly and roared in his heart. Not only was Lin Xian's talent in alchemy better than his, but his battle prowess was also heaven-defying. He could even kill top geniuses. This made him extremely jealous and terrified. Beside him, Morong Qingshu was silent. He was extremely shocked. Previously, he didn't put Lin Xian in his eyes. He thought that Lin Xian was just borrowing Morong Qingqing's power. Now, it seemed that he was gravely mistaken. Regardless of talent or battle prowess, Lin Xian was a top existence in the younger generation. This caused a trace of fear to emerge in his heart. Even Morong Qingqing's eyes flashed. Lin Xian's methods were indeed beyond her expectations. The Ryu family disciples below were wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. They couldn't accept the fact that their family's top experts had been killed here. Willow Lance's legs trembled as he looked at Lin Xian. He really didn't expect that this young man, who was inferior to him a month ago, would now be able to kill the top genius of his family. Looking at that figure, a deep sense of despair rose in his heart. Lu Yil's death not only alarmed the surrounding younger generation, but also those big shots. After all, Lu Yil's identity was special. He was a genius of the Ryu family, and the Ryu family was one of the 8 great families under Prince Lingfeng. Furthermore, Lu Yil's sister had become Prince Lingfeng's woman. If Prince Lingfeng knew about Lu Yil's death, he wouldn't let the matter rest. With Prince Lingfeng's methods, killing Lin Xian would be as easy as flipping his hand. Even if Lin Xian had Senmu College behind him, he wouldn't be able to escape. However, those big shots didn't say anything. Lin Xian's current status and talent didn't allow them to say anything. Ancestor Qi Yu sighed as he looked at the figure in the sky, his eyes flickering. In the end, he said in a deep voice, "Send the rest of the Ryu family's disciples out." He couldn't control Lu Yil's death. After all, it was a voluntary duel, and he had no right to interfere. However, he still had to protect the remaining Ryu family's disciples. Otherwise, if the Ryu family's disciples were all killed in Crimson Crescent City, Lu Jia wouldn't let them off. Seeing the Ryu family's disciples retreat, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He didn't make a move. This was because these people didn't have the right to make him do anything. However, the crowd remained silent. They knew that the Ryu family wouldn't let this matter rest. Lin Xian looked coldly at the corpse in front of him. Then he waved his hand and took the corpse's storage ring into his hand. Since he was already enemies with the Ryu family, he wouldn't return their storage ring. With Lu Yil's status, there should be a lot of treasures in the storage ring. Other things aside, the value of the Black Dragon Bow alone was enough to shock the world. Moreover, Lin Xian guessed that the storage ring might contain the 9 turns nether mantra. After all, it was a true earth-tier unbounded mantra. Its value was immeasurable. Seeing Lin Xian's action, the crowd's eyes were filled with greed and envy. However, no one dared to say anything. Even the bigwigs didn't say anything. The Crimson Dragon, on the other hand, was unusually excited. He waved his dragon claws and jumped up and down excitedly. However, in the next moment, his expression changed drastically. He shouted with all his might, "Kid, watch out!" In fact, even without his warning, Lin Xian had already sensed the danger. The 10,000 bee stings weapon spirit in his body suddenly gave him a warning. In the next moment, he felt a shocking, murderous intent enveloping him. The moment Zero warned him, Lin Xian had already used the illusory demon steps and retreated to the side. However, he had underestimated his opponent's speed. He was too fast. His opponent's speed wasn't any weaker than his illusory demon steps. This made him extremely shocked. After all, his illusory demon steps was also an earth-tier martial art. It was extremely fast. Even a 5th level supreme might not be able to catch up to him. However, his opponent was able to keep up with his speed. This made him extremely shocked. Obviously, his opponent must have an earth-tier martial art movement technique. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to catch up to him. A cold light flashed in the sky. It was like the cold moonlight, carrying a biting cold, murderous intent. Then, a figure quickly approached Lin Xian like a ghost. At the same time, the cold moonlight in the sky quickly slashed down at Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts trembled. Even Xin Yulong and Murong Qingshu's expressions changed drastically. This attack was too fast. Even they couldn't dodge it. Boom! The red lotus armor on Lin Xian's body shone brightly, forming the most solid defense. In the next moment, the cold light ruthlessly slashed at the armor, emitting a clanging sound of metal clashing. Blood splattered everywhere. It was extremely glaring. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be injured. One had to know that even Lu Yil couldn't break through the armor. However, someone was able to break through the armor's defense. Lin Xian's pupils abruptly shrank as he rapidly retreated. His heart was filled with intense shock. His opponent was able to cut through his red lotus armor. This was too shocking. His armor was extremely strong. Even when he fought Lu Yil, it didn't shatter. However, his opponent had cut through his defense and injured him. Shocking. He was truly shocked. The longevity incantation in his body circulated quickly. The wound on his chest stopped bleeding. However, the cold air forever shrouded everyone's hearts. Whoosh! Just as Lin Xian quickly retreated, another cold light flashed and quickly slashed at his throat. It was as if it wanted to cut off his head. A figure holding a machete quickly slashed at Lin Xian like a god of death. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.